Where's Cones of Dunshire on this list? How does this form that?
Yeah.
How is Betty White in the elephant category? You know, like, how does that make sense? Yeah, it's good. You're listening to the Funkatronic Rex podcast, where a few self-proclaimed piratical nerds running a friendly local game store discuss the board, card, and tabletop gaming community they love and serve. We tend to be the goofy, gregarious, and non-grindy gaming geeks of the community. Welcome. Thanks for being here. This is the Funkatronic Rex Games and More podcast. I am your co-host, Court. Thank you, folks. No, you know what? I'm going to take it again. Sorry. I'm going to take it again. What? I'm trying to mix up the intros a little bit here. So, welcome back to the Funkatronic Rex podcast. Oh, you know what, Saul? I should probably tell you. Welcome back to the Funkatronic Rex podcast, everybody. We are here live in the... No, we're not live. We're going to start over. I always want to say live. We're not fucking live. Welcome back to the Funkatronic Rex podcast. We're here at Funkatronic Rex recording. My name is Court. I am one of your co-hosts. Thank you guys for listening today. It is a beautiful day. Cooling off in Phoenix, Arizona, finally. To my left, who we got?
My name is Michael.
Michael, good to see you, man. What do you do here?
I sell you things.
That's right. Yeah, you sell us things. And to my right, Lord Vader is out today. Lord Vader is feeling under the weather. So unfortunately, we do not have the boss here at the table, but we've got a very special guest sitting across from me. We have Saul.
Hello.
Hi, Saul.
Hi.
What do you do?
I come to Funkatronic Rex to play board games and Lorcana and sometimes Magic.
Saul, you
Hard to
are...
believe Alex doesn't think I play Magic, but I do. So.
Oh, that's right. I kind of forget that you play Magic, to be honest.
Yeah.
Saul, you are the board game guy. You are basically Mr. Board Game here.
Yes.
But you are also a professional chef.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I recently got an executive chef position. So, yeah.
Really?
I don't know if you guys, did I tell you guys?
Nope,
I don't know.
I don't think so.
So, yeah, I actually moved restaurants. So I'm over at the VIG on 40th Street in Indian School. So,
no way.
Yeah.
Dude, awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Very cool. Wait, didn't you used to work there?
I was training there for a while.
That's
so at the beginning of the year. And then that's probably why I got the promotion, is because I know the staff already. And they're all like seasoned veterans. They've been there with the company for like 10 plus years. So there's a lot of the staff there that's been there for a long time. And so, yeah.
Cool. So you're a professional chef, but you are also a board game aficionado. And you basically are kind of our ambassador when it comes to board gaming here. You've headed up like the board game group and whatnot on Thursday nights. But talk a little bit about how you got into the geek side of your life.
Yeah. It happened a long, long time ago. No, just kidding. No, I actually went to a board game store. I forgot what it was called. They're closed now, obviously, because of malls and stuff. But I went to a board game store. I saw a couple of games that just interested me. And I was like, man, I didn't realize there was so many board games. And this was like 12, 15 years ago, and then I started looking around. I was like, man, like this is pretty cool. And I got some of my friends into it. And that was at the time where like I was playing Red Dragon's Inn, Coliseum from Days of Wonder, just enjoyed playing with them with other people. And I was like, dang, like this is a whole new genre that I never thought cardboard would actually be awesome.
Because was your exposure initially kind of like the Monopoly thing, doing
actually,
old school kind of family board games?
Yeah, it actually started with Parcheesi. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a little like unknown game of like sorry in a way, because it's like you can bump people, you can block people, and so that was my biggest thing. Playing with family, along with categories, along with gestures, like those like those fun interactive games where it's like, oh, there's a lot of enjoyment in that, especially with like around family and stuff like that.
Sure.
And, it was just one of those things that I was like, man, like, okay, well, what about my brain side of things? You know, this is a fun aspect. What about the brain side of things? And that's when I got really into like Seven Wonders. You know, yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Ticket to Ride, that was one of the biggest ones. CATAN as well. You know, I played like 3 times in my board gaming career. So, yeah.
We're going to talk about a lot of those and in upcoming episodes too, I believe, because board games are your wheelhouse, and we're going to dive deep today.
Yeah.
But how also did you get into Funkatronic Rex? Like, what brought you here?
It was actually my friend Dave, who actually lives around the corner from here. So he saw that it was open, and I met him through Imperial Outpost, which is a different LGS local gaming store.
Yeah, they're good.
And so he's like, hey, man, like there's one closer to us. Like we could go in and just play some board games and stuff. So I was like, cool. And we checked it out. And I think that was like a year after you guys opened. So I've been here, you guys have been here around like 7 years?
7 years.
Yeah. So it was like 6 years since I've been coming here.
Wow.
Yeah. Like once or twice a week, and just like enjoyed Mike, you know, cool guy. So it was just like one of those things that came here and just started coming on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And besides board games, you're playing Magic a little bit. Like I've literally never seen you play Magic. Have you seen Saul play Magic? You have?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I've played at a game with him.
What?
Yeah. Michael has played a couple of games
So
with
we
me.
always joke because Saul's always like, oh, I'm going to trade in all my Magic cards, but Alex doesn't let me.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, oh, dude, just do it on a day where like Alex isn't here.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, good news, Alex. I finally traded all my Magic stuff.
Yeah. I have an Umbrus Commander deck right now. So,
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, with the new like Marvel set, I know it's kind of cliche, but that just sounds exciting to me.
Sure.
And like the Bloomborough deck, like the Bloomborough?
Yeah.
That just came out. So I'm like, oh man, I really want a Commander deck. But, you know.
We got to see Captain America.
I know.
And then
what's
more
funny,
to come.
Yeah, what's funny is I read into that, and it's like apparently there are color specifics on cards, which I didn't realize that. There's a certain order on certain like multicolors, and that one they specifically moved to be red, white, and blue.
Yep.
So
Make it America's colors.
yeah, why are you looking
Why would
like
they
I'm
not
crazy?
have Captain America red, white, blue?
No. So like the mana symbols, like that on the actual card, they follow a certain order. They rearrange the order so that it's specifically red, white, and blue.
Because it's normally like a Wooburg order?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
So, and I just found out about the Wooburg order or whatever it is. Yeah. So,
Michael, what is Wooburg for those who don't know?
It is the 5 colors in Magic in order. So white, blue, black, red, green. And it's called Wooburg because it's W. They use U as a blue because B is used in black. And then RG. So Wooburg.
red, green. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you see like our singles binders and then also the long boxes, a lot of times it'll say Wooburg on there.
Okay. I mean, that's something I just realized this past week. And then reading up on that Captain America card, I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's really cool.
So they spoiled it? They dropped a spoiler on it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a reprint of something else, or is it completely?
This is entirely
really?
No, it's actually has a really cool ability.
What
So
does it
like
do?
you can attach not enchantments, but equipment. Thank you. So I look at it as items from Lorcana, but equipment, and then you can actually throw it at someone, and then whatever the cost is, it'll do that much damage to it.
That's sick.
Yeah, and it's 3 targets. So he like shield throws, but you can shield throw any equipment.
You can split
have
up
on
the
him.
damage of whatever the cost is into 3 separate targets.
Oh, that's totally on theme.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then there's also it's called release and catch. So, and then the catch part aspect is I think at the beginning of your turn you can attach a certain equipment.
Yeah, you
onto
can put
Captain
in
America.
equipment for free.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it now, and it is weird to see red, white, blue at the top because that is not Wooburg order. So they definitely changed it. So Captain America, First Avenger, 1 red, 1 white, 1 blue. He's a 3-drop, 4/4. He's got throw. You pay 3 and unattach an equipment from Captain America. He deals damage equal to the equipment's mana value divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. And then he also has catch. At the beginning of combat on your turn, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to Captain America. That is sick.
Yep, and
that's rad.
We haven't seen what the shield does, but it had like there's going to be no doubts. Oh, this shield combos with Captain America. Funny enough,
well, it'll go back to him.
I mean, I hope
right?
so.
Well, maybe the fact that he has a built-in just re-equip. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if the shield itself will have an ability where you can maybe equip it Captain America for free. I have no idea.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of excited for it.
Cool.
I might build a Marvel Commander deck, so we'll see. Yeah. I like it. I know.
So many thoughts.
I know.
That's all right.
I know you don't like it. It's okay.
It just doesn't appeal to me. Like, that looks cool.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just go grab a ton of Marvel cards though,
Yeah.
but we'll see. You also play Lorcana.
I do.
When Lorcana came out, you jumped in hard.
I was really hesitant about it because I wasn't sure the longevity of it.
Yeah.
So I was just
no
like,
one was, to be honest. We were all like, this is gonna fail. They've screwed the pooch.
Yeah.
But they've
So-
done well now.
Yeah, when the first chapter came out, I was like, oh man, I really want it. But at the time I was like, do I want to spend money on this? And I'm like, I'm into Magic. I have 4 commander decks. And, I was like,
What was the appeal to you then?
honestly, just the Disney characters. Like it has such a huge appeal that it's just like, it has Aladdin, Lion King, like it's just that nostalgia effect of like, oh man. And then it's just also too, like Lorcana has a new concept of like what's called Floodborn, where it's like, it's in the universe of like different characters that have different characteristics. So like you have Cinderella, who's a knight, and she has like a missing piece on the sword. And then you have a different card, which is the prince that has the missing, sword piece. And so he's trying to look for her. So it's just like the in-world like aspect of stories of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Instead of a slipper, it's a
Yeah, it's a
sword.
Yeah.
So instead of the slipper, it's actually the piece of the sword, and so he's trying to like look for her. So
Cool.
I don't know, it's just really cool. So I enjoy it. The characters, the gameplay is simple. Obviously, it's getting a little complicated. They're adding locations, sing together songs, like a lot of different mechanics on it. So, and then the new set's coming out in about a month. So November 15th.
Man, they just pump them out.
Yeah. I mean, it's similar to Magic, every 3 months they have something. So they haven't really introduced a whole lot of new mechanics to it, but I think most of it has been done, I hope. But
Well, I was so unaware, and I think, Michael, you were in the same boat. Like, with each Magic set, like, there's lore and stuff that comes out. Like, when Innistrad hit, which is what brought me in, like, they talked about the plane of Innistrad and what Avacyn was doing and Sorin, and that was so rad.
Yeah.
With Lorcana, the understanding was there, like, Ursula's return. Like, that's so clear what's happening.
yeah.
What the fuck is Shimmering Skies? Like, you told me,
Yeah.
you told me what was happening, and how am I supposed to gather that from?
So it's
the
really
cards?
funny because like the first chapter all the way to Ursula's return set, there's actually a story involved where it's like in the first chapter, if you see, there's Detective Mickey that's looking into like this seaweed type aspect.
Yeah, do you know that? Do you know about this at all?
I know like the bare minimum because I remember. So I was talking with someone else. I was like, "What's the story in Lorcana?" And they gave me something along the lines of, "Oh, the world's ending, and you're trying to like summon all of Disney's characters to like help you out." That's what I got. I don't know if that's
all right.
I don't know if that's
Sorry
clear.
to interrupt. I was just like,
No, you're
this
good.
is so news to me.
No,
so.
you're good.
Okay.
And so what Ursula's return is they have like a thing called the Hexball Crown, which is an all-powerful item in Lorcana. And so she actually got it. And so in Ursula's return, they actually came out with Illumineer's quest, which you actually can bring up to 4 people to defeat Ursula.
It's co-op, right?
Yeah, it's co-op. Yeah. And so like it comes with 2 decks already pre-built into it, but you can actually obviously build your own deck and try to defeat her, which I played it once and it's like, it's super great. Like it's awesome.
But how did she come back? She was impaled by the ship with Eric. I know my Little Mermaid lore. Don't question me here.
Well,
How-
in the
she was
world of
dead.
Lorcana, we as Illumineers kind of bring up these glimmers. No, I'm serious.
Okay, I
This
know,
is
I
the
know,
story.
sorry. It's like Planeswalkers with magic.
Sure. I don't know too much lore about magic, but it's just we're Illumineers and we're painting these characters into a light and sort of a different thing. So
Okay, so it's bringing them into existence.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
So in your own imagination. So there's like storyborn
rad.
cards, which are similar to like, it's things that you're used to, like the glass slipper with Cinderella, like that's a storyborn. Whereas like the sword where she's a knight, it's a floodborn. Yeah.
Okay.
So
It's making
what's
sense now.
Dreamborn?
Dreamborn is something that I believe that they're, that you're, oh man, I forgot.
It's
But-
just like straight up imagination.
no, it's straight up like this is what they're dreamed to be, and this is their excellent, like
okay.
higher I don't know, higher existence in a way.
Yeah.
So this is what they like want to become. So yeah.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Okay. I had
It's
no
really
idea.
cool.
Yeah.
And where do you find this information?
Yeah. How are you supposed to know?
Lorcana on the website. So
Oh, okay, cool. I might have to read up on it just because
yeah.
love me some good lore.
Yeah, it's good.
Did they drop any like were there like little booklets in the first release so you kind of understand what the story is?
I think in the first chapter, I'm not sure. Again, I didn't really buy a whole lot of the first chapter. I did buy the Trove, which is like comes in 8 packs and like dice and stuff. But those have gotten better, obviously. But yeah, I read it all online, and it's just interesting because it's like Battle of the Villains, you know?
Yeah.
Like right now with Shimmering Skies. So going back to your initial question.
Yeah. I was just going to bring it around.
So Ursula's return, you defeat Ursula, right? And as the Lumineers, and now there's this huge party going on, and there's like carnivals and like pie fights and like different things, but then this great I think it's called the Luminary like crashes down in the middle of this party, and people are starting to notice it. So it's just like it's one of the stories that's kind of evolving. And so in this next set that's coming up, it's Azerite Sea. Now they're trying to find there's these villain characters, and I think the next villain is going to be Jafar, but I think they might just I think they're trying to like what's it called like trying to deceive you in a way, because in this I just actually saw a card recently revealed that Jafar has the Hexwell crown, half of it, and he's like, oh, now it's my time to rule Lorcana. But there's also like this great owl that's supposed to come, and there's like owl footprints. So it's like it's a good little mystery of just like, what are these characters and what are they doing?
Yeah.
So it's like, the villains are going to be villain, so.
One thing I really appreciate about Lorcana is the idea of expanding existing characters, and in a way that kind of makes sense too, like rather than just taking it and running.
Yeah.
And what I really also enjoy is that there is no proprietary characters, right? Like there is no made up character just for Lorcana.
Other than the Lumineers, no.
Right.
Yeah. All the characters are actually from Disney movies in some way, shape, or form. So, and I know they're planning on building like the Black Cauldron. Pocahontas is coming. Pixar is coming in like I think 2026.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Pixar.
So I'm excited, just like what they do. And they actually introduced Big Hero 6 in this next set for the Azerite Sea.
Okay.
And they came up with a new subclass, which is Inventor. So other subclass. So like
No. What's the subclass?
Oh, Inventor.
Oh,
Yeah.
I heard Nunter.
Inventor.
Okay.
Well, I wonder what they do. So
Yeah. That's cool.
So in this next set, they have actually Inventors coming out, which has been introduced, but I think they're more in this next set are building up into like an Inventor deck. So I'm pretty sure that'll be one of the starter decks that goes on there. So
And definitely Belle's dad will be part of that, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting cards, and the thing I love about Lorcana is that yes, it can be competitive, but also I can build a Hercules deck and it still be viable.
Thematic decks.
Thematic decks.
Yeah.
So like a Hercules deck. I know recently we did like a 2-movie mashup where it's like we combined 2 movies, no color limitations, but like we combined the 2 movies and just build a 60 card deck. And, I built a Hercules deck, which was across like at Hercules, Hades, Meg in there. The mom too, which her name eludes me right now.
Hera?
But yeah, Hera. Yeah. So yeah, and she's pretty cool because like thematically she has like ward, which means you can't really target her. But if you have a character named Hercules in play, then he gains evasive. And then when you have a character named Zeus in play, I believe he gains rush or something like that.
Is that haste?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
No, it's good.
I'm just here.
Yeah. Well,
just to
thank you for
talk.
being here, Saul. Really appreciate it, man. Yeah.
No, I'm glad I had the day off. So
you said this was a very special day you marked on your calendar for months. And
that is
you were
that is
taking it off.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Because you love us.
Even though you asked me 2 weeks ago too.
Okay. So when we had the idea of the podcast, we've said this for a few of our guests, like it was so clear that you were going to be on here at some point.
Yeah.
And we just didn't know when. I think the debate really was having you on episode 1. There was talk of having you on the first episode and doing like full on board games.
Yeah.
But the decision was, I think, to ease into like who we are as Funkatronic Rex. It's a weird name. We're just a bunch of weird guys running the
Very
game
true.
store. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where do we fit in the board games? Because board games is huge.
Yeah.
And so I think for you being here today, it's going to unlock a lot of different episodes that we're going to have you featured on. So
Well,
thank you for being here.
I'm glad I'm here. So
Yeah. Good.
I'm glad I could be the board game guy.
You are.
Yeah.
Saul comes in. He always has IKEA bags of board games filled to the brim. It's always so funny. Michael and I joke about it all the time. Like you guys, and your board gamers bring in luggage of board games.
Yeah.
And you only play one of them.
Yeah. I had my 30th birthday party 2 years ago. So just kidding.
Wait, I
It's
was
not
going to
2
say,
years
you
ago.
said
I had my 30th birthday party at a place called Bonus Round, which is no longer there. But the amount of games that were brought is probably over 200.
Oh my gosh.
And I only got to play 3 of them.
Yeah. I understand that you bring them for the options. What do people want to play?
Yeah.
But it's still just so funny because
And that's what a lot of people
carrying all these
Yeah,
games.
and that's what a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of different options out there, for people. So for me, I look at it as movies, where it's if you like horror, if you like, action, or if you like spy thrillers, there's always a game for you. So if you like worker placement, then there's a game for you. If you like, a game like Mysterium, for instance, which is co-op, where one person's trying to tell you, how they died, So there's always different genres of board games that I could probably find for you, honestly.
So that is the other episode we want to have you on. And I'm spoiling it a little bit. Maybe it's just teasing. But we talked about having you do an episode of genres of board games. So when we think of board games, we think you're rolling dice, you're moving meeples around on the board, and then there you go. But there are so many different genres: worker placement, cooperative,
Correct.
Euro trash.
Yeah. It's called Ameritrash. Yeah,
Ameritrash.
that's what it's called.
There's a ton of different things. And I think one of the episodes we definitely want to have you on is going through each of these genres, what defines them, what board games are included within them, and why you might like that.
Yeah.
Or if you're looking for something, hey, I want to play da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
I want a cooperative game that is set in a alternative future with worker placement. And then then you figure out what we're going to play.
Yeah. I don't think that exists yet. So,
well, then get on it.
I know. I'll try.
Actually, here's a question. Have you ever thought about inventing a board game? Design?
I've tried so many things. And then once I actually get to the thick of it, I actually thought about doing a fishing game. No, seriously, a deck builder to where it has a map.
Okay.
And then this is a while ago, and I literally got fishing books and all these note cards, and I was like, yeah, sounds great. And then it's oh, they're already coming out with something similar to it, and I'm like, dang it, I didn't beat them to the punch.
Yeah.
But
well, that's there's that concept that an idea isn't inherently ours. The idea is greater than ourselves. So when somebody comes out with something, you're like, fuck, I totally thought of that years ago.
Yeah.
It was the sense that that idea is great enough for it just to need to happen.
Yeah.
So it's not that you were ripped off, or it's not that you know something, but it's the concept is greater than who you are.
And then I play it. Yeah. And then I play it, and I'm like, oh, I could do a lot better than this.
Nice.
So,
well, thank you for being here, Saul. We're gonna jump into some news here. So, news at Funkatronic Rex. We had a couple weeks back. We hadn't had a chance to report on it because our last episode was the dungeon crawl, the one shot that Hiroko designed for us. But a few weeks ago, we had the CATAN National Qualifier here, which was huge. We had maxed out at 32 players. We had just a ton of tables set up, everything ready to go. I think it was, if I'm being honest, it was a little overwhelming. Was
that your guys' first time hosting a tournament like that big?
Yes. So, well, for board games.
Yeah, for board games.
Of course, Warhammer, Magic, all that stuff, we're there. But we're not super Catan people. I've played Catan. I like Catan. I make fun of it, but I like it. And then having all those spots be filled and filling those orders on our Shopify and seeing these out-of-town addresses and seeing oh shit, these people are from out of state.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people coming to play in our store that have never been to our store and don't even live in Arizona.
Because it's it was a national thing, right?
Yes.
If you got top, 4? Then
So It was a national qualifier, so they have the national championships in Minnesota every year, and stores host these national qualifiers. So if you win the first spot, so if you get first place in any of these, you are automatically invited to compete in nationals for that or the following year, depending on where the cutoff date is. So we had 32 players. We got everything set. All the boards needed to be the exact same setup. Like Alex and I are running around like mad with Lord Vader trying to get everything set. And we got it. Everybody was in. Yeah, so once we got going, round one was fine. We were going to play, I think it was 5 games. So there's preliminary round. And after the first game, Best Coast Pairings crapped out on us. Like we had everybody plugged in, calculating scores. We hit next round. Error. Oh, God. Error. Like it would not get to the next round, and it scared the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. And we have 32 people staring at us going, what do we do next? Yeah. And so thankfully, a woman named Angela, she had Best Coast Pairings basically on speed dial because she was part of LA CATAN, like a play group. And she phoned up, got the development team on Messenger, on Facebook Messenger. Dang. And they are in real time adjusting our event on Best Coast Pairings to work. And I could see buttons changing names and things like that. It was weird. Yeah. So for 40 minutes, we're scrambling, trying to figure out how to make this work. We really can't do anything. It's just the development team that needs to fix their issue. Yeah. And thank God, Lord Vader is like, you know what? I hate waiting. We're going to play some trivia, and start slinging Trivial Pursuit at everybody. Nice. And it was very good. And once we got it, everything smoothed out. It was fun. It was great to meet all the new faces because we had, again, a ton of out-of-state, out-of-towners playing. Everybody was really cool. There was definitely some adult bickering. Like it's a competitive game. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's silly, but it is kind of funny just to see people like argue about like wood and sheep and all that stuff. And
Catan players have a niche of just like arguing with each other and just like, what do you mean? You don't want to give me your sheep? Come on. Like this guy's winning over here. And so it's a little bit of politics, but also luck, but it is one of the great Euro games. I mean, and that hurts for me to say that.
No, it's true. And we'll get into why in a bit, but it wasn't even so much the politics of like, why won't you trade me this? It was more like niche, very specific rule sets that we have the core rule book and then we have like the little tournament guide, and none of these were in there. Like there were moments of like, this player picked up the dice. Does that end the previous player's turn? Or like this person rolled, but the player before them now announced that they were building a road, but didn't actually build it. They like forgot to put the little pieces out. And it was like, oh my God, now I have to rule on this. And this was so stressful, but it was super fun in the end. It was great. We went till like 12:30 at night, and our good buddy Joshua got top 4. And I was so excited and proud of him. And he wanted to win, but like all he wanted was top 4 so he could get like the autumn pieces. Like there's seasonal Catan
promotional
pieces. Yeah, promotional.
Yeah,
and he got it. So he was so thankful for that. But yeah, it was cool. So thank you guys to everybody that came out and hung out with us that day and played. It was a lot of fun, and we're definitely going to do another one. And we've seen what we need to do in order to smooth things out. But I think it went great. Honestly, it was good. And then Michael, you had a tournament of your own yesterday at the time of recording. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was technically the second Star Wars Unlimited store showdown. The first one, not enough planning, and it was still like early in the games, like player base. So like, there's only like 8 of us here, and
was that in the first set that got released?
Yeah. So they do the showdown for every set. It's like right around a month before the next set releases, you get the store showdown kit and a free box of boosters that you use for prizing, and then you get like exclusive art, like promo cards, and then top 8 gets like a special fancy card with like that says top 8, and then they have a top 4 and finalists and champion. So it's a cool way to like, I have a top 8 card for this event. So like the cards are cool and whatnot. their form of like, this is the largest casual, like they brand it as a casual event, which is good because like not that I'm lazy, but it means I don't have to put in all the effort in the world to like get this event to be like, oh, we're doing 5 rounds and then we top cut to the 16 and then we're doing it was 5 rounds. I'd already like said it like, cool, we're just going to play the 5 rounds and whatever the standings are at the end of it, we'll prize out. Wanted it to keep it as simple as possible for one, new players, because I know we had a few amount of like, I just play casual and this is my first like form of this long style tournament. And it was also, I wanted everybody to have fun instead of nitpicking like, oh man, you did this wrong, so now you can't do it anymore. It's like, no, guys, we're just here to play. I understand that there is these cards for prizing, but no, you got to prioritize having fun. But was cool.
That's what we strive here.
Yeah.
For here is the fun aspect. But sorry to interrupt. I do have a question. When you say like casual, how can you define a casual tournament? Like, are you saying because you're not cutting players, like you're continuing to play?
If like for tournament organization, the casual are cool because like they have, if you look at like the Fantasy Flight, here's your tournament rules booklet.
Yeah.
They have specific sections for like, this is how you should do it for casual events, and that's how you should do it for like their competitive events.
Nice. Okay.
And like I said, the first part that was like the easiest, like, cool, I don't have to do a top cut, so I'm not going to.
Right.
Because they had half the people supposed to play and the other half get to go home, and then like so it just worked out. Again, we just did 5 rounds. It was best of 3. People brought their premier decks, so their standard built decks. We had 18 players, so it was a good amount. I was a little worried because like, oh wow, there's 18 Star Wars people, and we're using a new tournament software that I've never used. So I was like, let's hope nothing goes wrong. Luckily, it all went to plan.
No Catan situation.
No
Catan situation.
Catan catastrophe.
Kind of. At the very end when like there was, cool, we finished round 5. Tournament says ended. Everything about it says ended. Good to go. Yeah. And then I click standings and like, no data available. I was like, oh no. So I kept clicking it. Then I refreshed and I was like, oh man, everybody's standing at the counter waiting to go home so we can prize, and I don't have the stupid standings. And then luckily, like a minute later, boom, done. All right, perfect. Guys, standings, boom, everybody got prized out, and then that was it.
It just fixed itself?
Yeah, so I think it just takes a while to like, you submit your results, and then whatever machine has to do all the math, and then like, here's the standings. I think that was just taking a while, but
it's like, a fucking computer. What machine? Like, come on. That
sounds like you guys need new internet here. I mean,
it was computer. Like, oh man, hurry, show me the results, hurry.
Oh man, and you had a lot of non-regulars. I would say.
I want to say it was about half and half. Actually, the regulars, and we mean as in like, we see these people at least once a month playing at a store. They probably still outnumbered, but it was cool to see. Like I'd overhear some of the newer people saying stuff like, oh wow, this place is cool. I've never been here. This is cool.
That's great.
So it was overall it was a big success. We only honestly had like one minor issue.
Okay.
That was
not technical.
Not technical. This was like a player-on-player disagreement, and we got that resolved as best as possible. But other than that, it went smooth sailing.
Did someone table flip?
No.
Was it close?
No, but that would have been it. It would have been funny to see. Like,
somebody just flip over.
Yeah.
Cards all over.
Oh gosh.
Have you guys ever had a table flip here?
No.
No. Mm-mm. Okay.
I don't think.
Can I be the first? I'll just surprise you guys. one day.
No, it's got to be genuine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd like to think everybody respects the space well enough to not flip a table that's not theirs. And then imagine there was stuff on it, like.
Oh,
Michael
guys,
just doesn't want to
don't table flip.
Yeah.
Don't table flip.
Yeah. Do it at home and send us a video because it's probably hilarious.
Yeah,
just don't do it in store.
I mean, we've seen instances of a lot of instant speed scooping. You know, like, no, I'm done. Like,
I'm done. Pack up my stuff and head out.
But it's not often. It's very rare, to be honest.
I've had a couple of those, especially in board games. It's like,
really,
like, and it's just like, bro, at least finish out the game.
Yeah,
You know.
we see it the most in like Commander, like
Sure.
Magic Commander, which is where you'd feel it the most.
Yeah.
And honestly, every time I've seen it, it's like, you did that as such a feels bad moment. Like, there's like a built-in like play community rule for most Magic players where you can only scoop at sorcery speed. So like if it's not your turn, man, just stick until your next turn and then scoop, because the last thing you'd want is for like, I'm going to counter your spell and I get to gain a couple life and draw a card. I'm going to scoop, so now you don't get to do any of that.
It affects so much.
Yeah,
it's like the butterfly
don't
effect.
Stop scooping at instant speed, and if someone scoops at your table at instant speed, pretend like they're still there. If you swing 100 damage worth with all life link and they scoop before you deal damage, no, just say the damage went through, you killed them and gain your life. Because again, that's such a feels bad. Where like, really, you're only doing that out of spite and.
Right.
XYZ, this person's not going to come out. And like, again, you do a 100-point swing and you don't gain any life when that was the whole point. It's a big feels bad.
I think it's a great home rule, like house rule for
it's
Magic.
For the most part, I feel like that's like players enforce that rule amongst themselves. I have seen a couple times where like, oh no, I scooped at instant speed and so you can't do it. Nope, that's not the rules where you don't get to do any of that. And it's like, really?
Yeah. Okay, guy.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. One of the other things that we had here at Funk Saturday, we were a part of a world record attempt for the largest tabletop role-playing game ever played, which means we were partnered with Bricks and Minifigs. So Bricks and Minifigs headed this up. They are a nationwide Lego store, essentially. And they wanted to, it was very interesting coming from them, but they wanted to run the largest RPG, basically the largest D&D game ever played. So it was nationwide. It was, I want to say like over 90 stores, like over 90 locations.
Oh, wow.
I think,
National, right?
Yeah, national.
Yeah.
And they were trying to run the largest RPG simultaneously played. So there was multiple tables going on of the same adventure. So what happened in different locations in this adventure affected the outcome. So I'm going to try and describe this as best as possible. We essentially were on a Zoom call with like 90 people. I'm on the laptop. I'm on the Zoom call. We had 3 tables wonderfully run by Hiroko, Mason, and Jeff. I want to say thank you so much to them for running this. It was a little chaotic at first, but they did a fantastic job. Thank you guys. And we had great players who had never been in here before. Some of them never even played D&D before. And some were seasoned veterans, and it was just so fun. And what happened was we were on this Zoom call with Bricks and Minifigs and all the other stores that were participating, and we had basically like a Google spreadsheet, and it had the list of like player numbers and inputting all of your damage that you would do to whatever monster it was that they were fighting. So the story was like they were defending this castle wall from the army of the undead against this necromancer. It was rad.
So sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no,
so
please,
it was like,
I'm like getting carried away.
No, you're good. So it's like everybody's playing the same scenario, and
Yes.
all of you guys are in this D&D session.
Yes.
Okay.
So certain like locations, and by that I mean like stores, essentially, were assigned parts of the adventure. So we were assigned the wall. Like we were defenders of the wall.
Ooh, that's cool.
Oh,
It was very cool. So there was like a necromancer, the classic Evil Dead, like Army of Darkness trope kind of thing.
Yeah. And
these tables had to defend the wall against skeletons. And what happened was, so we're on the Zoom call, we're timing it. It's everybody has to start at the exact same time, and it was very stressful. And the run-throughs were like, is this going to work? Like, the guy Johnny who headed it up did a fantastic job, but he kept saying like, all you have to do is ... and then would give like 15 instructions. Like, all you have to do is this, and that's all you have to do. But it was like, okay.
Yeah.
But when the day came, like we had the packet, it was literally 2 pages of instructions, and he was right. Like, all you have to do is this. As a moderator, for me running the overall gameplay. For DMs, it was a lot of work on their part, I think. So we kicked it off. They had cut scenes. They had stop motion animation, like Lego videos of this scenario, this cinematic, basically. Yeah. And then it's go. And then you have an hour to play the first scene. And then we record the results. All the locations, all the stores record the results of who was successful, what tables succeeded, what tables failed, and all that. And then they tally it up in the next 5 minutes. And then depending on the overall results, it changed the story. So if if the majority was successful, then they would go this way. If the majority failed, they'd go that way. And everybody did really well. So it like zigged over this portion where they thought it would zag. So, we're not doing side quests. We did really well. We're going to go to this. Then we'd play another cutscene of what happened. It was really neat. And then they would play and they'd have to determine damage on this thing, on this necromancer. And then we record all of our damage in the spreadsheet and all that. And boom, the last cutscene. So we played for, I think it was like 4 hours. And it was awesome. Yeah. It was it worked really well. But I will say, I have a screenshot of the Zoom call in the first 5 minutes, and the panic on people's faces is hilarious. Like, I'm sorry. It's just, there's people like squinting into their computer screens, and like someone's on the phone and the other person has their hands up in the air, like, what's going on here? And there was just every Zoom call trope you can think of, like, you're on mute, we can't hear you. Or like, where's the spreadsheet? Where's my link? Like, how do I type this in? All of it happened.
Just COVID 2020 flashbacks.
Oh, dude, it so was. And so the biggest thing was like, I'm in the chat trying to solve people's problems, which really wasn't my job, but I wanted to help out.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing was, I think people weren't logging their numbers of players, and you needed to put how many players you had, including DMs, in this one cell for the Excel spreadsheet. And so I looked, and there was only a certain number, but we're missing half of our numbers of like how many people are actually playing across the country. So did we get the record attempt? We don't know yet. It's a long process, apparently, of like finding out if it was broken. I think the previous record was like 1,200 people playing the same D&D campaign at the same time.
That was just last Saturday?
Yes. The last Saturday. So the previous record was 1,200 something, and we're going to find out if we broke it. So by the time we're recording this, I don't know. On our next episode, I hope to say, yes, we were part of a world record breaking record. Right, yeah. Whatever you call it. But big shout out and thanks to Walt at Bricks and Minifigs in Central Phoenix. He did a fantastic job with just all of our materials and getting everybody ready. So please go check them out. And thank you guys for playing. Thanks for being there. Mason, Hiroko, and Jeff, thank you for DMing to all of our players. I'm so glad you guys had fun. And yeah, it was a weird day.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
And so it ended with they defended the castle, right?
There was some like breach, I think, but they defended it well, and they speared the main necromancer, or some tables did and some didn't. So if your table did put the spear through him, you can keep doing damage to him at the end. But if you didn't spear him, you were SOL and didn't get to damage him the last minute. So yeah, it was cool. It was good. We're going to forego hobby highlight because we've just been chatting a ton. And to be honest, like, I feel like we just shared a lot of our...
There's still other news.
What's the other news?
Yeah, you guys got like best board game plays. Did you guys talk about that yet?
Oh, yeah, we talked about it in our last one. But we'll just mention it again. Like, thank you guys. We officially are New Times 2024 best game store in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
crazy.
A cool thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool. So
yeah, I was very proud of that. And Michael, of course, I mean, you've been here for 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the shop's been here for 7, so it's rad. Yeah. Well, thank you for reminding me, Saul.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. So moving into our main topic here, we're going to talk about modern classics in board gaming. And I have a little written thing here that I'm just going to read off to kind of make sense of this. But games like CATAN, Pandemic, DIXIT, Arkham Horror, and Ticket to Ride so frequently appear on the shelves of board gamers, along with box art that sports the accolade of winning multiple awards. These have become, quote, modern classics in our world and must be for some sort of reason. What makes them and many others, quote, must play, must own, and for a local game store like Funk, must carry? So we're going to go through a variety of, quote, modern classics, share our experiences with them, and also comment on their success, reasons for why they've stood the test of time, and what newer games might join the ranks of these prodigious games. So there are plenty of classic board games, Monopoly, Boggle, Sorry, Life, all that stuff. We're not talking about those today. We're going to talk about more niche, kind of the classics within our world of board gaming. And we're going to cover 4 in particular, And I hope for this to be a recurring episode that we can introduce another for and just kind of deep dive into that as well. So,
and what we like to say is modern board gaming. So like, I like to talk to people about like, when I talk about board games, they're like, oh yeah, like you play Monopoly and Sorry. It's like, actually it's more the modern ones that have been out within the last like 5 to 10 years, you know? And so people are like, oh, like what? And, you know, and people just start questioning me about it. So, but you know, I can't talk about modern board gaming anymore because Ticket to Ride's like what, 20 years old?
Well, that's like, in a lot of these, the kind of modern classics, and I'm still going to do this air quote thing. Yeah. They've been around 10 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Which I would still say is modern because when you look at like, I don't know what Monopoly's
been out since like 1928, I think, like during the Great Depression.
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Test my board game knowledge here.
1935.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah, 1935. Wow, jeez.
Yeah. But I mean, that has stood the test of time. You know, it's like, it's crazy. There's so many different iterations and it's still going on today where it's like there's Monopoly Go now and like an app, which is like a daily thing where you're like rolling dice, but you're collecting money, but it's also interactive because you're building these like buildings within the game.
Yeah.
And then like other people can like knock them down. And so it'll cost you more money in the long run. So it's just, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it made $1 billion. Like,
what?
Yeah. In like its first year.
Oh
It's ridiculous. So, I mean, I play it as well. Not, and actually they introduced a Marvel theme now just recently as well. But,
well, it has such a great appeal where it's like you may not know how Monopoly plays, but there's Star Wars Monopoly, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
There's Lord of the Rings Monopoly, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Pixar, there's like
sure.
I have a Simpsons, like, which is my other big thing. I love the Simpsons. They have a Simpsons Monopoly, you know, so it's just like it's a lot of different iterations. And now it's like it's kind of funny because I mentioned the app because now they're turning the Monopoly Go app into a board game.
What?
You know,
Ooh.
yes, which is coming out. So it's
a board game that became an app that became a board game.
Correct. Yeah, it's just full circle.
Full circle.
Full circle. Oh, and I'm definitely buying it because it just sounds very intriguing. So,
oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of these games that were actually 3 out of the 4, I think, definitely have other IPs that are involved with them, or at least expansions and iterations and reskins. So
that is correct.
Yeah, 3 out of the 4. And then Michael, you're not really the board game guy.
Nope.
So this is going to be an interesting take too. But like, before we jump in, like, what do you like with board games? Like, I know you don't really play much of that, but like, what is the appeal to you, if any?
I think gameplay mechanic, like, oh, cool. If this is a properly in-depth board game where you're doing stuff, but it doesn't feel overly complicated, or like it's just good game design. The skin, I normally don't mind. There's some where like, if there's ever a board game where you're a mailman collecting mail from houses, like it'd be like, listen, man, that doesn't sound fun at all. The game might be great, but I don't want to be no mailman. So most of the time, though, skin doesn't matter as long as the game's cool. But there's some scenarios where,
so if you see beige on a board game, you're like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah.
So.
If the box is the color taupe, I'm gone. Yeah, Michael and I tend to like, I don't know, we make fun of it a little bit, but like,
make fun of it all you want, because I make fun of it too, because sometimes like there's games that like, for instance, like we were talking about Dominion, it's like, what is this game? It's like, looks Renaissance-y. Am I going to be fighting people? Am I going to be doing it at Carnival? But at the same time, you're like, no, you're just collecting cards and trying to get points.
It's funny because like, the last time we had Dominion on the shelf, it still looks like, oh, is this still in its first edition? Like, what is this font? What is this art?
Actually, that came out last week.
Like,
so with each of these 4 games that we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about the theme. So there should be a defining theme of what it is. Like if I was to say BattleTech.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk mechanics right away. We're going to say BattleTech. You are in the far future and you are piloting a huge giant mech and you're either part of the Inner Sphere or the clan or a mercenary group and you are on the battlefield walking around shooting each other. Like, we are going to talk about the themes of each of these games, but then also the type or genre that they fit in. So like you mentioned earlier, Saul, like if it is a worker placement, if it is a cooperative game, like what defines it as far as genre goes. And then just the overview, like, have we played it? Do we like it? Why is this a classic? And that is the big thing. Like, how is this still being sold today, and why?
And
So-
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt,
No,
Michael,
please.
but what's the favorite board game that you've played?
Oh yeah.
Let's see. I think my favorite has been Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Yeah, that's good.
The second is what is it called? It's the D&D one.
Oh, Lords of Waterdeep.
Lords of Waterdeep, yeah.
So,
That's a true classic too. Yeah.
do you consider Unmatched a board game? I mean, yeah, right. It is a board game. It's not tabletop board game.
That's a very like
How did
that
they
might be a
define it? Let me see.
different topic for a different.
I know.
You know,
I'm
but-
curious. I'm grabbing the
Yeah.
box here.
I mean, I call it a board game.
yeah.
So,
I think ultimately
yeah.
it's a board game,
Yeah.
but
It has a game board,
yeah,
and you're using cards and minis. It's a board game.
Yeah. It's a fact. I think the difference is like, do you have to build the minis? You know. I think that's like
even
a
there,
true- even still.
Yeah. See, now we're getting into what defines a board game.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, another thing too that we're going to talk about, and I mentioned it briefly, is not just modern classics, but games that have come out somewhat recently that might join the ranks of modern classics. So Quacks is definitely one that we're going to bring up because that's quote newer,
Yeah.
but has really hit the ground running. So yeah, Quacks is a fun game. We should do that sometime. I'd love to play again.
It's come out with a mega box for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So, you know.
yeah. But for what it's worth, honestly, those are probably like two of the only board games that I've played that I can
Yeah.
actually remember playing. It's like I haven't. It's kind of insane how little board games I play because like I've never played Catan, I've never played Ticket to Ride. Like it's funny, we're gonna list all these modern classics,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, nope, I haven't played any of these.
But that's good. We want that
Yes.
opinion and what you think might appeal to you because
Yes.
yeah, there's definitely some. I mean, they're classics for a reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well,
There's a reason why they sell like 10 million copies.
Yeah.
You know? It's just insane to me.
let's jump in with our first huge heavy hitter, Catan or Catan, and formerly known as Settlers of Catan.
Correct.
So, just to give a background here, this was released originally in Germany in 1995, and it was called Die Siedler von Catan. This was created by Klaus Teuber, a dental technician from Darmstadt, and has sold over 45 million copies worldwide. And so it has clearly stood the test of time. It's one of those that's like on everybody's shelf. We obviously had the national qualifier for it, so there is competitive gaming for this. And the theme. Tell us the theme of Catan. And I'm going to switch back and forth between Catan and Catan.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
No, you're okay. I'm sure. I honestly don't know what the theme of Catan is, to be honest with you.
Well, there's
I
three
just
words.
know-
There's 3 words on the box.
Yeah,
that describe
trade,
it.
build, and settle.
Okay.
So you trade resources after you roll random dice.
No. Theme. Give me the theme. What? You're the big guy here. I'm going to show you the box.
Oh,
you tell me
man.
what the theme of this game is, and then I'm going to read it to you.
You're trying to settle in a land and build up your, I guess, prestige. I have no idea, honestly.
But yet you've
I've
played
never read
this.
it.
Okay.
I played it. Yeah, I played it several times, and I just so the thing of it is that it's a Euro, so theme doesn't really come through as strong.
Yeah.
So, and that's like the biggest thing for it. I've played it, so
Michael, what do you
Yeah.
think it is?
yeah.
Honestly, looking at the box art,
Yeah.
it seems to be like the most generic of generic. Like, oh, you're a farmer and you're gonna build your house and I don't know, farm resources and trade wood for wood. It just at face value, it looks like you're a no-name nobody in I don't know the farmlands and you're trying to make a living.
Yeah, the greatest trope is you have wood, I need sheep.
Yeah.
So it says, "Welcome to the uninhabited island of Catan."
Okay.
Where you and your fellow explorers will collect will collect resources, barter, trade, and build up your settlements to make flourishing communities. That's what it says on the box.
Sure.
It's so generic.
It is. And again, this is one that we tend to make fun of, and especially with like the anti-Donna sketch of like trading wood for wood, and then you play the Don Quixote card and you automatically win unless you have this sort of Cthulhu door and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
And the biggest thing is just like it's so bare, and once you read it, like people don't understand it. But once you're into it and you play it, like a lot of people love it just because of the strategy aspect of it. Like I would consider it random, but not like other Catan players don't consider it random because you get to like, you know. But I feel like it's such a niche game that a lot of people understand. You roll a die, you get whatever resources it is. Now you get to build things.
Yeah,
you know. Also, it's interactive where it's like, all right, I got plenty of wood. Why did I build my settlement on it where there's plenty of wood? Or it's like, okay, I need sheep. Like, you know, anybody have sheep? So,
and I think that's what brings it out of the dark from other board games. Like at 1995, like there were, I mean, you had Monopoly, you had Sorry, you had Parcheesi, you had all these things. And this was, I was going to say, like, this is one that helps you interact with the table in a different way.
Yeah.
Versus like, my turn is my turn and what I do affects just me, kind of. There's bartering, there's trading, there's a little bit more of wheeling and dealing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's like, it stood the test of time, you know, like you said, there's a lot of different iterations of it and a lot of people just really like it. And at the time there wasn't really anything like it, you know, just like you said,
right.
You know, there's a lot of like, oh, I get to like do a randomized board and then try to figure out how this kind of works, you know, or you could use a set board to where it's easy for first time players, you know, and it's just one of those games that I don't know why people like it, but I played it as a board game guy. Like, you know, I want to know these things because it's like, I want to get you to the next step. You know, it's Catan's great, but let me show you these all other games as well.
So the theme is ambiguous off the bat, but then you start understanding what it is. Like, I think they changed it from Settlers of Catan to just Catan. And I feel like that was a weird move, and I know that it was probably like a legal rights thing or something.
I don't know. I think
it's Catan Studios.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like their own thing now.
Like I said,
it makes it more ambiguous. Like when you say Settlers of Catan, you're like, oh, I have a reference point.
Yeah, and also too, it's more of a marketing technique, you know, where it's like you look at somebody where it's like, hey, have you played Settlers of Catan? It's like, oh, that sounds a little ambiguous. Like, are you like killing people or like, you know, sort of, are you settling in a land that's, you know, so, but I can understand why they changed it. I mean, now it's just Catan where it's like, okay, cool.
I can't quite like put my finger on it, but it just makes more sense for it to be called Catan than Settlers of Catan. I guess it just, I can't put my finger on it, but it makes more sense.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of, you know, reasons for that. You know, I haven't really dived into it, but you know,
I think branding would probably be like you were saying, Saul, where like,
oh, easily.
This is Catan.
Yeah. And then what would you call this, like, as far as genre goes?
It's definitely a Euro. So, yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Define that.
So Euro means like, it's not really heavy on theme, but it's more or less of just, it's more of a brain type thing where it exercises your brain in a different aspect of being very strategic in that aspect where the theme doesn't really come through. You're just doing stuff to do stuff.
It's like gameplay first, theme second almost.
Yeah. Whereas
when you say Euro, you mean Europe. Truly.
Yeah,
like
Europe.
It is a European style board game.
Correct. Yeah. And this was one of its kind, like one of its first in its kind where, you know, this theme kind of came out where it's like, oh, yeah, that's a Euro type game where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it came out of Europe, but at the same time it's, you know, theme isn't really there, but the strategy is definitely there. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, and you're trying to get the first to 10 points is the goal, and you get points by building. See, I'm sorry. This is where I start like making fun of it because it is just kind of funny. It's a good game. It is a very good game. Yeah. But like you're building roads and you're building
roads, you're building settlements, and you know, you're trying to get resources to build the longest road or to get the military or to like
The Sims on a Catan island.
Yes.
Correct.
And so what is your experience with Catan then? So I'm going to go around a little bit as we kind of round out this game itself. Like, what is your experience with Catan? When did you first play it? And then, like, do you like it? Have you played the expansions?
I've played a couple expansions. The expansions actually add a lot to it. The Seafarers and the Knights expansion they're both like really great for it. And I think that's like, I played it a couple of times and that's when like things really like I really enjoyed it, you know, but at the same time, I'm like, it's Catan. I'd rather play something else, you know. I'm not knocking it down. Like, it's a great game to set, like I said, but it's just like, it's really,
let's take a call
every time.
Yeah, and that's what I'm finding out too. Just in the modern board gaming, we've never had that. You know, you can't really do an expansion for Monopoly, let's say, unless you add a totally completely board. But then it changes the aspect of it. Whereas, like in modern board gaming, expansions kind of enhance your experience, or like add a little niche here and there, or problems need to be fixed. You know, like there's something that maybe they didn't do a run through of it, and maybe that's like, you know, that they didn't really play test through a lot. And so in the expansions, like they kind of fixed that sort of thing, you know, like in Cracks of Quedlinburg, for instance, they added a whole another separate color, and they added like this whole essence aspect to help like, we're just not going for a certain color now. You know, it's like you can verify and kind of gain other rewards as well.
So when talking about Catan and its expansions, is it one of those where like, if you're going to play it, you might as well play with an expansion? Or is it one of those where like, you could like, no, the core game's still good enough. And then cause like the way I see it with like Quacks, with that specific expansion, at least to me, it's like, no, every time we're playing, why not use
expansions or not? Yeah.
Because like with Quacks in particular, the extra board that you get, I want to say it gets you like
the essence board.
Yeah, the essence board. You got a different orange, like a different pumpkin chip, where it's like, I want to say it's like 8 points or something like that.
Six movement. Yeah.
Okay,
so with the original game, it's one movement, but it also the cost is like 22. So it's I know because I play a lot.
I was gonna say we're in the thick of the nerd now.
But yeah, in the original, there was it was a one movement. If you drew the pumpkin, it's a one movement. For those of you guys who don't know, Quacks Quedlinburg is you're pulling one chip at a time outside of a bag. You don't know what's in it unless whatever you buy in it. So if you pull this orange pumpkin, you get to move one step on your forward on your pot. So where the expansion added a 6 movement for pumpkin, but the cost of it was 22. So it made it expensive. But if you pull that 6, you're going to get further inside that pot, which helps you get points, which helps you get, you know, money to spend for more ingredients. Yeah. Or the most expensive ingredients, not more, but yeah.
But yeah, do you feel like the expansions are necessary for Catan, or can you just play the base game until the end of time? And
honestly, like try for first-time players, Catan at base, it's really good. You know, if you're really into board games, try doing your research first. You know, and some of the expansions are great for it. You know, like I said, the Knights is good. The
Traders and Barbarians is one I'm looking at. Seafarers.
I've never played with that. Seafarers is good. Yeah, I believe that's adding more of a trading aspect for it. So. I haven't played with any of those expansions.
Well, there's so many different skins for it too. Like I'm looking at Game of Thrones right now. I'm like, I will play that. I would absolutely play that.
Starfarers looks like you're in space.
Yeah. And I think to like drive it home, the reason partially why it's a classic is the gameplay is simple. You can teach somebody this game in 3 minutes. Yeah,
it's like the perfect amount of simple and while still getting, because like Monopoly, it's simple, and you know you don't ever really feel like you're actually playing the game. I feel like it's like, oh, we roll, and then maybe you buy a building, and then at the end it's like, oh, cool, I just have all the money in the world. Yeah. Well, this is still like, no, you play it, and it's like, no, you can feel this is an actual board game, but it's simple enough, like you said, it's easy to teach. But it's not overly complicated. We're like, I have no clue what the hell's going on.
Well, and there's also a replayability factor where the board can be set up differently.
Because random. Like Saul saying, you can make it set or you can randomize it.
So when you have a rule set that's very easy, but the gameplay is simple, but the way you play it can be complex, and then there's randomization, it feels like it's a very easy breeding ground for expansions and different skins and stuff, which is a gross way of me.
And I just looked at BGG. It has 94 expansions.
Holy shit!
So
Catan 94.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think part of it is too they have promos in there, so like a card counts as an expansion.
I looked at their Catan studios and like a card is considered an expansion.
Correct. Yeah, and that's how Board Game Geek it expresses it like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, 94 little trinkets, to help out Catan make it a better game. So
There we go.
yeah.
All right, well, we're going to move on to the next one here, unless you guys have anything else you want to add to Catan. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to, let's see, we've got DIXIT. DIXIT. A picture is worth 1,000 words. DIXIT. So a little bit
The
about
original
this.
version.
The original, yes,
Also,
because
yeah.
again, another one that has...
Different iterations
Yep.
for it. Lots of expansions.
So DIXIT
What's it say on the box? 15 awards or something like that.
God, yeah.
Yeah. Over 1.5 million sold.
Where are you seeing
This
this?
is in the front.
Yeah.
That like
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
the little-
over 1.5 million games sold. Yep,
Yeah.
yeah. So for those of you guys who don't know, Dixit is Latin for he/she/it said. So it is a statement, essentially. It's a French board game created by Jean-Louis Roubira,
the most French name.
illustrated by Marie Corduat.
And the illustration, the cards on this, it's so
gorgeous.
beautiful. It's
Yeah.
When did it release?
This was released in 2008.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, 2008, and it won the 2010 Spiel des Jahres award.
Spiel
which
des
I'm-
Jahres.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens every year. Yeah.
All right.
Is that like
And it's-
the?
Oh, Spiel is the big game convention in Germany, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
The Spiel, yes,
Yeah.
but this is a total separate community.
Oh.
It's in Germany.
Okay.
This is probably another section, but
Okay.
yeah, it's Spiel des Jahres. They do 3 separate categories. The first one's the kids. Second one is strategy, and the third one's kind of like a family. Like anybody can kind of play it, but
Oh.
they do their own like lines for what it means to be in each of those categories. So, but yeah, that's a totally another separate.
So is this like the award for awards for
Yeah,
board
this
games?
is like
wow.
the biggest one
Really?
in like Europe. Yeah, so it's like, it's Spiel des Jahres, and they have certain criteria too. Like it has to be released within a certain year, and it has to be released in Europe. So like U.S. games like really don't count unless you publish it in Europe.
I'm getting a very snobby vibe from the Euro game.
Oh,
Europe,
let me
man.
tell
What do
you.
you expect?
Yeah, let me tell you. I look at that list every single year, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I got to buy these 3 at least.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
like all the nominations, because it's like that's where Llama came out of. Like that's how I found out Llama was like a great game. Just recently, gosh, I can't remember. I don't know if Sky Team was on there, but that's a 2-player pilot game. I don't know. I haven't looked at this year's.
Man.
No, actually, Daybreak. Daybreak was one of those, which is a co-op game, which I still haven't played, but. And we'll talk about this when we get to pandemic, but co-op games are not really my forte. But
Oh, okay.
yeah.
What'd you have, Michael?
This will probably get cut, but I was just thinking of about a month ago, we working, I think like on a Sunday, and we get a call, and it's like, hey, I'm from out of town, XYZ is wondering if like, do you guys have table space so I can play some board games? I was like, yeah, all our table space, free to use, just come in as long as there's no event, you're good. He's like, okay, and do you guys have like a board game library? I was like, yeah, we have a bunch of games that you can play here and whatnot. He's like, okay. And then one more. Have you heard of this game? And I think it was the
Daybreak?
the other one,
Sky Team?
I think it was Sky.
Yeah.
Sky
I
Team,
think it
yeah.
was Sky
Oh,
Team. He was
okay.
like,
Yeah.
do you guys have Sky Team and stuff? I was like, it doesn't sound. It's like, all right, well, because it just won some big awards, so that's like definitely one you guys should definitely like.
all
So
right.
I'm like,
It's-
oh, okay.
I believe it's out of print right now, but it's a really good 2-player game, and the fact that you're 2 co-pilots trying to land a plane, and
And
it's a co-op game.
Airliner? Is it an airliner, or is it something cool like we're in? I mean, not fighter.
no,
jet,
you're
we're
you're
in a
like
fighter jet
the
or
board
something.
is literally like if you were to walk in to try to fly a plane, and they have like little like different gears, like you have to worry about like wind, like
See,
it sounds funny, but
It is
trust
funny.
me, it's a really great 2-player game. Like I have not even played it, and I want to play it. Like and just to
And it's only
experience
2
it.
players?
It's only 2 players, yeah. And you're
okay.
trying to work together to land a plane.
Is it like
and there's like, and I'm serious, there's like coffee involved as well.
Oh my gosh!
So
I drew the no dose card.
no, you're not drawing
Hopped up
anything.
on caffeine.
Yeah, I honestly, Cora, I think you would love it. So, yeah.
It says the plane crash.
Yeah.
That's really-
Is there the terrorist expansion? Like, I drew the box cutter.
Yeah. Oh no.
We're all fucked now.
But
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But then the guy came in and he's like, "Oh yeah, man, this game, you guys really need to have it." I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll keep that in mind." Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. But it was hilarious. So he came in, he's like, "Oh, this game, it just won best game of," and I think it was probably that. But it was like, dude, what do you want me to go do? Like, go order it right now as we speak?
Yep.
And it's
overnight
out of
it.
And it's out of print.
Yeah. So I think it should be coming here pretty soon. But yeah.
So getting to DIXIT, which for the weirdest time it was like, is it DIXIT? Is it DIXIT? Like, as far as I know, it's called DIXIT.
Yeah.
So.
And have you played it?
Yeah, I really like this game.
Okay.
So this is one I can speak on a decent amount just because I do like this game a lot. So let's go with our topics here. So we got the game. What is the theme? Let's see that. Michael, do you know the theme of, if I hold this up to you and say DIXIT, what's the theme here? Sell me this game.
Pictures. Great looking pictures.
Yeah. Yes.
Great artwork.
Yes. So
As far as theme though, I legitimately have no clue.
because that's interesting. I truly don't know the theme of this game because I know the mechanics.
Yeah.
Like, do you know the theme, like the story, if there is one in this game?
So I've played it once, and that was more than enough for me to recommend it to somebody else.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it. I think it's great. The thing of it is that I was playing with a lot of people that know board games, and we kind of got on this like rut in it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say I played it once. I played it a couple of times, but after a few times, I was like, okay, I understand this game, and I probably need to play it again because I've heard so many good things about it. I think it was just a group of people that I played with. But as far as theme goes, I have no idea. So I know there's like a secret. I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to even take a stab at it. I got that wrong with Catan.
Come on, what do you got?
Man, there's a hidden motive person, and everybody picks a card, or somebody chooses a theme, and you're trying to get that. Those are mechanics, but again, I don't know.
Oh, what if it was like some old painter guy died, and then you're just like rifling through his like paintings, and like, what do you think this could be?
Ooh,
that's more Mysterium.
I like that though.
But that is cool.
So as far as I can gather from playing this multiple times, looking at the box, looking at Wikipedia, there's really no lore or there's no theme necessarily. I mean, there's a theme, of course, but there's no like lore for it.
Yeah,
so.
no landing a plane type theme, that's for sure.
And also too, how I kind of got into this game was Libelud, the designer the company that did this game.
Yeah.
Like they come out with like really great artwork. One of the games is Seasons, which is it's so great. But their artwork is always on point.
Man, yeah, it's gorgeous. If you look at the art here, it's really cool.
And it's for family.
It looks very reminiscent of like not old, but like
it has that fantasy element to it.
It strikes me as like a kid's book, like something like you look at the like where the wildlings are, and like you look at the art, and it's like, wow, this art is like so
like you
unique.
can tell straight from it.
Yeah. So it says DIXIT, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's a lovingly illustrated game of creative guesswork where your imagination unlocks the tale. Okay, so maybe you're kind of like, the idea is you're building the story, but what's great about this is the appeal to it is right there on the box. It's gorgeous and it's easy. So if I go back to my notes here, I just want to make sure So the overview really is, I don't even know how you would define this in type or genre. Like, it's a card game per se, and it is really a card game. That has
I would
like
call
a
it
board.
more of a deduction. So, because you're trying to figure out or you're trying to have somebody pick your card to get points.
Yes. So there's 3 steps here on the back of the box that are the instructions how to play. So on your turn, as the storyteller, choose a card from your hand and give a clue for it. This clue could be a word, a sentence, a song, etc. When I've played it, I've literally given a look. Like I did a facial expression, and that was my clue. Yeah. So, for example...
Oh, so it doesn't have to be any words or anything?
No. For example, they say the word journey. You can say journey. And then each of the other players chooses one of their cards that best fits your clue. Then you shuffle and reveal all the chosen cards. All players use voting tokens to guess secretly which card is yours, the storyteller's card. Once all votes are done, the scoring begins. That is it. Truly, that is the game there. It is super fun. It's really fun when you can kind of get weird with it. Like, every single card in this is gorgeous artwork, and you must kind of describe the card in one word as the current player. So I have like a card that has like a dragon breathing fire onto a knight or something like that. I'm going to say fantasy, which is broad and whatnot, because the idea is you don't want everybody to guess which one yours was, because if you're too specific, you've failed. But you want to be broad enough. And then you guys all put in cards that could fit the word of fantasy. And then everybody votes which card was actually the storyteller's.
Yeah.
Super fun. It's weird how accessible this game is just because there are 3 rules to it right there.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know, because it's 3 to 6 players. How many players did you play it with?
I've played it 3 to 6. I've literally played every single player style with it.
Which of all the player counts, which one did you have the most fun with? Like, is it one where it says 6, but you don't play 6?
No,
or
I'm going to guess
works.
6.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to guess 6. Yeah.
That's a great point, Micheal. Yeah, like a lot of games we play, like they recommend, it's 3 to 6 players, but the sweet spot is 4 or 5. But this 3 is rough. 3 is tough, especially like if you know somebody really well, you can kind of
because you get inside their
way.
brain and it's like
like Micheal, I could give you this look. And you would know what I'm talking about. And for listeners, and just
the head on the shoulder,
So it plays well with, I think, higher numbers. More than 3 is good.
Yeah. And so, like, we're talking about modern board gaming. I feel like this is more modern because, again, it came out with great illustrations. It came out as a party game. It was one of those things where it's like, and actually, honestly, the box art is really great on it as well, where like it draws you in, where it's like, oh, something mysterious is going to happen, and then you open it up, look at the cards, and you're like, holy, what is this?
See the box?
Yeah,
this
it's
is one of
very
the
much
ones where-
not Catan. Where Catan, I'm like,
It's strategy,
And
it's
this
dice
looks
rolling. This is
whimsical.
more of a
This one I have also not played.
Oh, you would like this because it's straightforward and simple. Like you can teach kids this game. You can teach non-gamers
I think they have
this
a
game.
DIXIT for kids.
Yeah,
Actually.
there is. And then we had Disney DIXIT for a while too.
Correct.
Which was really cool. Just
Did you
all
play that
Disney
one?
cards. Yes.
Yeah.
That wasn't the first one I'd played. I'd played just the regular box, but Disney DIXIT is great because everybody at least has a framework of, oh, I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this. But you don't have to. And I think that's what's great about this game too, is that you could come from nowhere as a reference. Like there's just art.
Yeah.
If you have eyes.
It's your interpretation.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If you're blind, you can't play this game. Like, I'm sorry. Like that, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has the art been the same since the games come out, or has it been updated? Do we know?
So there's some expansions that adds a lot more cards.
Okay.
I think mechanics too. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I haven't played any of the expansions, but
I have not
played
any different mechanics.
Yeah.
As far as
So for the expansions,
I mean, like I've played the different iterations, the different versions of it.
I see. Yeah, because they came out with some expansions for this as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because then if looking at the art and then knowing it's from 2008, again, this is what I would have imagined would be in like a kid's book when I was growing up, and then like the teacher reads us. Like it, that's great art.
Yeah. So I think for reasons, and I've kind of just gushed over it, like how good this game is, and it sells. I mean, talking from a local game store standpoint, like it sells.
I mean, yeah, when the Disney one came out,
Oh
it
man,
flew off the shelf.
and it came with a cool promo
Yep.
too. Like,
I think those are cool, and like that's a cool, like I guess, incentive to like, oh, I already have Dixit, but this Disney Dixit, oh, and I get a cool special limited edition XYZ card. Sure, why not? I'll buy it.
And what's great too is you could take Disney Dixit and just the regular core box or whatever you want to call it and mix them up.
Oh, okay.
Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's art. Like there's no words
Yeah, I
on
guess
these
that makes
cards
sense.
at all. Yeah.
Very cool.
So just looking at Board Game Geek, there is 58 expansions to this. So again, this is part of the single cards as well. You know, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, there's a Dixit Disney Edition Olaf promo card.
Ooh, that
that
wow.
came out
Was that
last
the
year.
one?
No, the one we
No.
got was Cheshire Cat, I think. I think it was the Cheshire Cat that we got.
yeah,
It was
so-
another player piece.
Yeah, I feel like that could be one of those things where you could combine those and it still wouldn't matter because you're playing off of whatever cards.
Yeah. And so the why is it classic? it's so accessible. Like, it's so simple to teach. Literally, you basically learn the rules on the back of the box in those 3 steps. The scoring is a little interesting once you get into it, but everybody that can appreciate art will like this game.
And plus, you get to like get into people's brains sometimes, which is kind of unique and different. Where it's like, you really thought about that? Like, what?
Like you have a picture of, I don't know, Santa Claus riding a motorcycle or something, and you say something like high school.
Or Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels. Yeah. And like, okay. Yeah. If you haven't played this, jump on it. It's great. Great game. And I would love to try some of the other expansions. We'll play this sometime, Michael. It's super easy.
I think Dixit's a great game. And if you have family members, especially like around Thanksgiving, and just have 30, 40 minutes, you know, it's like, hey, especially if you think you know your family, and they give you a clue and you're like, what? What are you thinking?
It is interesting, though, because I don't want to say you can break the game, because you certainly can't break the game. But the more you know somebody, the better you could kind of guess what they're going for, or you could do little inside jokes or secrets like Michael and I were saying.
Yeah.
So, Cool. Moving on to Dominion.
So in your hand, you have Dominion Renaissance.
I don't know if we have
the base game.
Game. Dominion. Dominion is one that we've got here, is a card game created by Donald X. Oh, wait. Sorry, there's another name after that.
Correct. That's his middle name.
Initial. I was like, period. What? Donald X Vaccarino. And published by Rio Grande Games. It was originally released in...
R.I.P.
Oh, are they gone?
I think so.
Rio Grande?
Yeah.
Or Rio Grande, whatever the hell they're called?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
As
know.
of when?
This past year.
What?
Dang. This will have to definitely get cut, but is Marco really upset about this? How is he taking the news?
No, I'm leaving that in.
No, because all the Rio Grande games he wants are out already. So, you know.
This was originally published in 2008, and this was, quote, the first deck building game.
Correction. I'm sorry.
It's what it says.
They are not. No, they are not. They're not out of business. I'm sorry. I thought they were.
Jeez.
I heard. Sorry. They might have been rebranded. So just quickly.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Good.
Saul's just predicting the future.
Yeah. All these beige games are going to shut down. No, just kidding. Marco's going to be sad. Anything you want cut, I'm just going to mention Marco.
Man. Dominion was, quote, the first deck building game and inspired a genre of games building on the central mechanic. It was released at Spiel, of course, like we talked about, in 2008, and was voted best game of the fair by the Fair Play polls. And the next year, it won the Spiel des Jahres.
Yep.
Yeah, it won that.
So that was in 2009?
Yeah.
Dang, so this game right off the bat was...
Yeah, came out swinging. And it also won the Deutscher Spiele Prix Award, which I'm probably mispronouncing that. And it is one of 5 winning games in the American Mensa's 2009 Mind Game Competition. Jeez, what the f*** is that?
That is a tough name.
Man, and by 2017, more than 2.5 million copies of Dominion and its expansions have been sold worldwide. Holy crap. Dominion.
Wait, how much? 2.5.
2.5 million copies.
Million, okay.
Yeah. So, all right.
Yeah.
This is actually, I'm going to bring up the core on the computer here.
Yeah. I mean, it's run a lot of awards when it came out in 2009. So it was.
And it's a deck building. I did not know that.
It's a
so
deck
that
builder.
was good to know.
You didn't know it was a deck builder?
No.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed it's deck building.
Piles and piles and piles of cards.
Now, I've played this twice.
Okay.
So I have some reference here, but let's go ahead and just look at the box art. Like, we're going to talk theme.
Yeah.
This feels very Catan to me.
Yeah.
So, what do you got, Michael? What do you think?
I mean, other than this,
1500s France? I don't know. Or when did the Renaissance take place? It's around that time period.
Well, I'm not going to read that part because that's the expansion.
The
Do you know the theme, Saul?
I do not know the theme at all. All I know is that I played this several times. One of them was with Susan, my best friend Susan, who I met here actually at Funkatronic Rex, and she loves Dominion. She gets the expansions. She has all the expansions. She has them, I believe, all sleeved. She does not have them all sleeved. Correction. I'm sorry.
Paul would have it all sleeved.
Yeah. That's right.
Is he one of those?
Every time he's brought in his Marvel Champions, his Arkham Horror, it's like, all right, yeah, let's deck build. And everything is all
Everything's
sleeved,
all
ready
sleeved,
to go.
yeah.
He has them like organized by like, oh, this is this.
This has over, I want to say at least 2,000 cards. So
Probably. I mean, I'm reading the description. There's lore to this.
Okay.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, you ready? Okay. You are a monarch like your parents before you, a ruler of a small peasant kingdom of rivers and evergreens. Unlike your parents, however, you have hopes and dreams. You want a bigger and more pleasant kingdom with more rivers and this is already hilarious. With more rivers and a wider variety of trees. I'm sorry. You want a dominion. In all directions lie fiefs. I'm saying fief with an F, not thieves, but fiefs.
Yeah.
Freeholds and feodoms. All are
feudums.
small, whatever. This is Euro all over.
Fief and feudums. So.
Fief and jeez. All are small bits of land controlled by petty lords and verging on anarchy. You will bring civilization to these people, uniting them under your banner.
Geez, so you're just going to go and beat like, this is my now move. You can work with me or you can get out of here.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But wait, it must be something in the air. Several other monarchs have had the exact same idea. You must race to get as much of the unclaimed land as possible, fending them off along the way. To do this, you will hire minions, construct buildings, spruce up your castle, and fill the coffers of your treasury. Your parents wouldn't be proud, but your grandparents on your mother's side would be delighted. This is the description from the back of the
Sounds
box.
brutal.
Oh, is that
my
the back
gosh.
of the box?
Yes. Jeez.
I wonder if that's the original one or not. Like,
yeah, it sounds.
sounds very modernized.
Yeah.
So while you were reading that, I looked up and I put on 4 expansions to it. It needs 1,750 sleeves just for the base game and the 4 expansions. And that's not including all the
Damn.
other ones. So obviously there's a variety for it and people love it. It came out in 2008. I mean, right off the bat, it won so many awards and it's just like one of the first deck builders that like all you do is draw cards, purchase from those cards with a piles and piles of cards that are out there. And obviously it's
a Dominion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
When you put it that way, it's super simple.
Get off my land. Yeah. So what is a deck builder then, Saul? Because deck building is the core mechanic, and we talk about a deck builder game that is the genre here. So what is that?
So deck builder means is that you start off with a set amount of cards. So you're either going to be like 10 or 15, sometimes even 5. And then you're going to be purchasing cards from a set of pool that everybody can buy from. You know, so when deck builder is that you're going to draw cards, and those cards you can actually use for buying power. So I believe in Dominion there are coins. Gosh, I haven't played it in so long. And then you purchase those cards. They actually go in the discard, and then whatever's left over, you can either, depending on the game, you can either keep it or you can discard them to draw back up to 10.
Yeah, you're
So,
trying to
for
build
instance-
up the strength of your own personal deck
Correct.
based on what's available to everybody
Yeah,
else.
and at the same time, you're trying to trash some of these cards because sometimes maybe on later in the game, these aren't going to give you points or like, or they just are negative points, for instance. You know, so
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, Dominion's like one of those like chef's kiss, like really great games, deck builders. Like
Yeah.
if you're really into board gaming and you haven't tried out deck builder, like Dominion's going to be your number one.
Well, it's the first one, apparently.
Yeah.
So, and then we look at games like Queen by Midnight, which have built itself off the mechanic that this started.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of those too. Like there's also Clank as well, which is like introduced the board game aspect of things.
Okay.
You know?
Mystic Veil is a deck builder, right?
Yeah,
There's the legendary
I
games.
haven't played that one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've played Mystic Veil.
Yeah.
I've played Mystic
that's
Veil
the-
and Legendary.
Card crafting system that they have as far as Mystic Veil goes, because you can put it inside.
Yeah, you have
And-
like transparent cards that like you can upgrade your card. I have this will probably kick up a funny story. We had
oh gosh.
this was a few years back. we had I guess guy had come in, he had bought Mystic Veil, he leaves, comes back a few days later, he's like, hey, so I actually left my game in my car and like all the cards melted.
What?
Yeah. here in
Arizona,
Phoenix,
man.
Yeah.
It is a problem, dude.
Oh,
it really is.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if we can do anything about this. And then I would like talk with Mike, and we are like, oh, I think we can. And like, hey, buy it again. We'll give you a discount.
Because those aren't cards. Those are like plastic cards. And
because they're like they're see through, and they're meant to like, again, they like sleeve into your other cards to like upgrade them.
Yeah. So every card has like a top, a middle, and a bottom.
Yeah.
And so when you're purchasing cards from that card, you actually have to consider that, because when you're laying out your cards, maybe one card is blank, so you can slot any card in there, right?
Sure.
But if you have a card that has a middle picture, you can't block that middle picture. It has to either go to the top or bottom. So, and Mystic Veil, it's like you can, once you draw a card and all three of them are filled, then you do all three of those actions.
Right.
You know, so.
Oh man, that game's really good.
Yeah, it's
time
really
to play
great.
That'll be, I'm sure that's one that we'll talk about in another episode as well. But I'm looking at this, again, I've played it 2 times, and I was so unfamiliar with the mechanic of deck building, because I played this early on in my gaming quote career, or whatever you would call it, where I was familiar with Magic. I was familiar at that time. I was really playing Warhammer Invasion, and so when I heard deck builder, I was like, yeah, I do that all the time. Like I build decks. And then my buddy who introduced me was like, no, you're deck building in the game. I was like, oh okay.
Yeah, it's not a trading card game. It's not a living card game. It's a set, like a self-included deck builder.
Yes.
You know, and that's what I think a lot of people don't get, where it's like, no, like you buy this board game, everything comes in it. So
you're building your deck as the game goes.
Yeah.
Your deck is getting updated every turn or whatnot.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool concept for a game.
Have you ever played a deck builder, Michael?
Yeah, Mystic Veil.
Mystic Veil? Oh,
And
yeah, you
Legendary?
mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Legendary too.
And the art on this is gorgeous too. It feels dated, but I like that.
Yeah.
Like it feels very...
It's like a colorful, outdated. It's weird.
Yeah, and it has a charm to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is cool though. But yeah, you look at the box and like what did you say? Like, what the hell is this font? Like, dude,
Like at first glance, like
Yeah, just the box art alone, you're like, what is
the game
this
looks so
game?
old. It's like they like whatever design they picked in 2008. They're like, yeah, we're just gonna run with it until
I
the end
like
of time.
that. Yeah, I like the art, and I remember liking the game itself. It was fun.
Could you imagine in like the near future where like everything's all technologically and whatnot? And you're like, oh, you want to play a video game, and then you grab your Dominion box and you're like, what the hell's this from the? Again, it'd be like, dude, when did you get this game?
I love that you harp on the font for it too, because like truly, as somebody who has like does some graphic design and design work for the shop and stuff, I look at this and like, who thought that was a good idea? To like, yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Dominion, these weird O's that are just kind of hugging other letters. Like, I mean, it's not.
I never even noticed that.
Yeah, it's not Papyrus, so we're okay. It's not Comic Sans.
No.
Jeez,
I
that's
prefer
another.
Comic Sans
That's a
over this.
Patreon exclusive. Just Court rants about typefaces, about fonts.
There you go. Yeah. And,
Go for it.
No, and I think like with every iteration that this comes out, it just gets better and better. I feel like it's so weird to me, because like I said, I mentioned Susan. She has every expansion out there, and she'll get every expansion that comes out because she just loves Dominion.
Yeah.
And I mean, having those type of people that love this game, and then they're like, okay, like we're gonna play with this set. It's like, dang, like it makes it a lot more fun,
Yeah.
for
Are the
that.
expansions cross-compatible, or is it like, you could only play with one expansion?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, so you
and
could throw
the
in as many as you
expansions.
want.
Yeah, and the expansions are standalone too. Some of them are standalone.
Oh, that's
Really?
cool.
Yeah, so like you can open this
That
Dominion
Renaissance
Yeah, I
one,
don't think that
you
one
have to
is.
play. I'm gonna grab the other one and
it?
see what it is.
I don't think the other one is either.
No, I'm pretty sure you could just play this by itself.
Michael, I'm so excited to show you the cover art for this. Like, you want to talk about dated art? Again, there's a
is this called?
beautiful
Guilds?
charm to this. Yeah. Dominion Guilds. Hang on. I wanna look at
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Yes, this does need the base game for it. So
this one does not.
yeah.
I'm looking at Guilds, and it is standalone. Okay.
Let me see this artwork, because I
Look
have
at
not
his
seen
face on
this.
the left.
Oh my
That's
god!
like an art. That's like that looks like a painting you
Quasimodo?
find in the like museum. Like, oh, check out this.
It's like a
know.
Renaissance painting.
Yeah.
that's what I
Accidental
love.
Renaissance right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, there's just something so elementary about the artwork here that I keep going on about, but I don't know. It's clearly not this just generic digital like design and whatnot. Like it's shitty, and I like that. It is. It's just
I
very
think
basic.
I wouldn't even say it's shitty, like you said. I think it's just there's definitely a charm to it, and like I guess it is kind of cool to like see this. Like, wow, this game looks like it's straight out of. I mean, again,
medieval.
It's like, this is a medieval times board game, and like, oh no, it's actually
it represents the theme very well.
Yeah, I think so.
And some people,
100%.
Yeah, some people love that artwork. You know, like the medieval times, and there is some great. Art. Yeah, there is some great art. I mean, you know, and when you're comparing it to something like Dixit, it's not, you know, as fantasy.
Yeah, you want to play children's book or bubonic plague times?
No, that's Pandemic.
Which we're going to get into. But I think, again, driving home the why is this a classic is, for me, I think it is the mechanic.
Yeah.
I think it lends itself to be it is the deck building game because it was the first one, and because it kind of it revolutionized card and board games that way. There's so much you can expand upon it. The replayability is huge there too.
It's huge. And also it's very approachable too. Like you can just set up the game and just be like, all right, guys, draw X amount of cards.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to show you my open hand. This is how we're going to play. You know, so I'll show you my open hand in the first turn, and this is what I do. And then we're just trying to get points.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Cool. Again, Michael, we'll have to try it.
Yeah.
Or you'll have to try it
if
later.
anything, it's like, it's kind of cool to see these games like surviving becoming classics, because you know, sometimes when you think like, oh yeah, this, like I could also see it equally be like, oh, this is a deck builder game that was based off of a discontinued Dominion game because the game was sold. Like no, it's cool to see the founding fathers, I guess, still sticking it to this day.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, because there are plenty of games where it's like, no, this is a reskin of that died, or this
Unfathomable, the Star Trek game. Like, no, these are the games, and they're still here to this day.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
It is cool. All right.
Oh, poor cards. I know they're probably sleeved. It's Mike's.
No, I don't think they're.
You just
there's 300 cards in there. Oh no!
Yeah, we should have opened this up. I didn't realize.
He shook it up, and all the cards are everywhere now. So what's cool about it too is
that
Dominion.
Is gorgeous.
Yeah. So Dominion has these little slots where all the cards go, and Court just like shook it all up.
Oh man, just seeing the 2018 stamp on this with this style art, because like you look at Warhammer like Invasion, and like no, these cards are. Like the art is so reminiscent of the time that they were painted. Like this is clear old school fantasy Warhammer, and it's like the same style art except this has a 2018 sticker, and Invasion's been gone for what? 2018, 2010, 2012,
2013.
Even the 2008 one is like the artwork is good.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's just the same art.
Oh, it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
That's cool. If you like Game of Thrones or Song of Ice and Fire, like just the story elements, like you'll like this game just on look alone.
Yeah.
The weird thing though, so one thing, I love black bordered cards. I don't know why. This just feels old school to me versus the white border. But this is a weird card size. What is this? Like Euro game?
I think it's a mini Euro, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, these are a little bit skinnier than a normal, like Western American board game style.
They've got their own card sizes?
They're standard European.
Okay.
Yeah, but they are a lot smaller too.
I didn't even think about it. That's kind of hilarious that like European game like have their own sleeve size.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, because we base our card size on a standard deck of cards, like 52 cards. Yeah. So looking at this, I want to play it. It's
good.
I forgot how cool this game is.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I kind of want to text Susan and be like, let's play Dominion. I'm sure she'll be like, yeah, when?
And how many expansions?
Yeah, well, she'll just bring her whole set. And then I was like, you decide what you want to play.
Yeah, just kind of tell us when the game's ready to play. And
you set up the game. We'll just play it.
Hell
you tell us some of the new rules. And
Sweet. All right, moving to our last game in our pick of 4 modern classics is Pandemic. Pandemic is a cooperative board game designed by Matt Leacock and first published by Z-Man Games in the United States in again, fucking A. Guess what year?
2008.
2008.
Damn.
Wow. Yeah. I swear I did not pick these based on the year, but it seems to work. Let's talk, Pandemic here. This is, This is one that you will see, I truly think, on like anybody that is a board gamer, this is on their shelf. And we don't have it's funny, we don't have the standard Pandemic here. We have like 8 of the expansions, but not the base game. So
you guys have different iterations as well.
Yeah.
Like a Cthulhu, Fall of Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is going through our checklist here, what is the theme of Pandemic, which I kind of feel like is in the name right away? Michael, what do you got?
So March of 2020 comes around. Right? Everybody's in high spirits. Everybody's like, cool, new year, new me.
Yeah.
And then a little something called Worldwide Pandemic shows up.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what this game was based on.
No.
Yeah,
So-
the hit game Pandemic off of COVID-19. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like there's definitely a tongue-in-cheek joke here where it's like, was this popular in 2020 or was it a little too on the nose?
Working here, I mean, it sold. And like we had a specific amount of times where like, yeah, I figured it's Pandemic. Might as well play the Pandemic. And I was like, that's a good enough reason.
All my board game friends are like, yeah, we're not going to play Pandemic for a while. It gives us PTSD. And like,
Man. So this was actually, since it released in 2008, it's obviously not based on the COVID-19 outbreak and pandemic, but it began its design in 2004. And after realizing that competitive games were making for strained evenings with his wife, the designer, Leacock, he began to design this game, Pandemic, to be cooperative, and was designed on the 2002-2004 SARS outbreak. So the idea was, I mean, Michael, you were pretty young at that point. What?
I remember
Was
SARS.
it 04?
Yeah, 2002 to 2004.
I was born in 02, so.
Yeah, right. You're a SARS baby. Yeah.
Schools were closing down. We didn't know why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, snaps.
Yeah, so SARS was like the big first kind of pandemic of our generation. At least.
Where the government was like, okay, this is getting serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schools were shutting down. The masks started happening, and it was very much like, oh, you stay over there. Yeah. So he based the theme on a pandemic. I mean,
it's in the name.
It's in the name.
It's in the name.
So I'll break it down a little bit, like what you're doing in the game Pandemic.
Pandemic is literally viruses, outbreaks,
And so you're stuck at
and
home.
you're playing. Yeah.
I'm playing the do I have enough toilet paper card.
Yeah, you got to stay 6 feet away from people. You know? Pandemic is one of those games where it's a world map and you're playing against the game. Literally, the game wants to make sure that you lose.
Yeah.
And it was one of those games that was a co-op. It's a co-op, so you have certain different roles that you have within the game, and your role is what you do, and you have a certain action, certain power that you have as well. So on your turn, you can use that power to help other people or to help yourself. And at the end of your turn, you flip over a card, and oh, look, there's some more coming out of this city, or there's some more coming out of over here. So
This is the only one of the 4 entries that I've actually played.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you like it?
Yes, there's a funny kind of story to like how I kind of learned how to play this.
Okay.
I had played it I think once before, but it was like someone run it, so I was just there, and they like, oh cool, it's your turn. I kind of figured out what was going on. So I'm at work, and then this lovely couple comes in. They're like, yeah, we're looking to play a board game. I was like, oh dude, perfect. There's a big game library. You have that, and then like. Oh, cool. We want to play Pandemic. I was like, oh, cool. Good choice. And they're like, we don't know how to play Pandemic. So I was like, oh. And I wasn't going to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to teach you how to play.
Good
so
luck.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? We'll figure this out. And
I'm so proud of you,
it
Michael.
is reading the stupid rule book, and like, I have no fucking clue what we're supposed to do. I think we got it at the end. Like, we definitely played it, and I think we played it right. But it was like 15 minutes of me like, oh, I have no clue what I'm going to tell these people because I have no clue what's going on. But we figured it out.
Good.
And I like it. I mean,
Yeah.
I like co-op games, I think, more than competitive games, just because, like, yeah, we'll work together to beat the game. I think that's just cool. But
And that was the driving motivation behind Matt Leacock's design, was that so many board games were, quote unquote, creating a strained evening with he and his wife. Like, that's so great. I love that. That, you know, a game is born out of almost necessity. Like there's a void of like, we need something that we can work together on, and he created it. That's great. Yeah, so in this, like Saul mentioned, it's a cooperative game, so you're playing together against the board game itself, which is trying to spread this disease across the world, and you are fighting to contain it, and not only that, but eradicate it. Like find the...
So there's 4 different types of viruses in the game.
Oh, okay.
And so you're trying to gain research within one of them, and then once you gain that research, you know how to kill it off, for instance.
You just have to beat one of them, right?
I think you have to... You don't have to eradicate all of them, but I think you have to find the cure for all of them.
Oh, okay.
if I'm
That's
not
what it was.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I might be misremembering it with something else, but is there a way to like upscale the difficulty?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely ways to upscale that
Like,
difficulty.
this was a little easy, and then like, it says if you want to have a harder time, do X, Y, Z instead.
And I think that's more
cool.
of the flipping of the cards than anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the flipping cards, it'll tell you like, okay, now there's an outbreak in Atlanta, for instance.
Yeah.
So it'll tell you to put more cubes in there. Yeah.
It's like the genre and the type that you would categorize this game is cooperative.
Correct.
Is there any sort of like, I don't know, subgenre? Because saying co-op game, like I play Lord of the Rings, the LCG, like that's a co-op game. You play Marvel Champions, Michael, like that's a co-op game.
Yeah.
But that is very different than this board game style co-op game. Because
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's a subclass. Board game.
just the board game co-op?
Yeah. Whereas like, I feel like, because this isn't really a deck builder, this is more of an action, point system. Whereas Lord of the Rings is a deck builder, not a deck builder. I'm sorry, like
Living card game.
Living card
Yes,
game.
yeah.
So like you get to build your deck outside of it, whereas this is all encompassing, and you're using action points that, depending on your role, to eradicate some of the diseases that are in there.
Yeah. Did you play the core one, Michael? No, just the base game?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
You played it once.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I've played the base game. I've played the Cthulhu one. My buddy Daniel got me that for like Christmas or my birthday years ago. That was a cool one. Thematically, that one is my vibe for sure.
Have you played any of the legacy games at all?
No, but I played Contagion.
Okay.
So there's just a strictly card game version that's not cooperative. And I really liked that. I played that with Ron. Ron showed us how to play that.
I think I've played it as well. I think I liked it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
cool.
purple one, right?
Yes,
With
because you're
purple and
trying
yellow.
to spread the disease
Yes.
in this. Yeah,
Yes.
I liked that. That was cool.
The cliche like virus.
The
on
little
the cover.
amoeba symbol or whatever it is.
With the
Yeah, the
little-
virus.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
We're very
that's-
scientific on this podcast. The little doodlies and the yeah.
I think that's an expansion.
Contagion?
yeah.
Yeah, it's standalone.
Oh, it's standalone.
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe I haven't played it then.
It's like a small box too, right?
Yeah,
it's a
I
small
think
box.
I've seen
Yeah.
it, and I'm just like, pandemic. But no, I really do enjoy it though, especially with like new people that just like, hey, I love playing co-ops. Like that's one of the games that I'll like, the co-op games that I'll play. And again, talking about like the Spiel des Jahres, like Daybreak is one of those that it's a co-op that I'm really interested in. Also, Matt Leacock is a great designer. Like he's come up with some of the.
I found it. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
We have it on the shelf.
Scanning the shelves.
Yeah, scanning the shelves over here.
Right next to the Jack Skellington.
Yeah. And I would
Yeah.
honestly, if you love Pandemic, if you love the premise of it, try some of the legacy versions of it. It is probably one of the best legacy games that I've ever played.
So when you say that, just for listeners that may not understand what a legacy game is, because there are legacy games for other game systems.
Correct.
So we don't mean a old board game. Legacy game is...
Yeah, legacy games are something that's new within this last, I want to say 5 to 6 years that's come out. I believe the first one is Risk Legacy. And basically what it is, so Pandemic and Pandemic Legacy, there are 3 seasons out of it. Season 1 introduces your normal Pandemic, where there's you're going to play every month, for instance, within the game. So you play January through December, and one game is January, the second game is February, so on and so forth. So Pandemic and Pandemic Legacy are 2 different things. Obviously, Risk Legacy came out with it first. Pandemic Legacy and what the legacy genre is a game that's kind of reiterated, but in the fact that when it tells you to destroy a card, it actually physically tells you to rip it up and never and just throw it away. So
Michael's confounded by
Ripping cards? What?
He's looking around. He's like, "What?" Yeah, and it's a weird thing for us to to spend so much money on a board game, and it tells you to rip it up.
Especially when the Pandemic Legacy specifically is like a $80-$90 per mega box.
Yeah, we have it here. I'm looking at it right now. It's a big box for sure.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So it's, but the experience of it though is what really is great about it, because you're going through this and you're like, oh, okay, it's a normal pandemic in the first month, but then the second month introduces like either new characters or your characters can die or like so on and so forth. Like it's really great in the fact that I don't want to give spoilers, because it's like you open up boxes that have never been opened.
That's so cool.
It'll tell you to like, hey, in the month of June, open this box, and then you're like. Introduces a whole new mechanic now, and you're like, what's going on here?
I love that. Yeah. We have players that come in and we'll chat, because I just love chatting about like what people are playing, what they like, and they will light up. They'll say something like, oh, I'm playing through Pandemic Legacy, or I'm playing through whatever Legacy. Yeah. And it's this like experience, like you said, like just this kind of, we're all going through this together.
Yeah.
It's so rad.
Yeah. And it's like, and the first time that I told one of my buddies, I was like, hey, you rip a card. He's like, but it's your game. You spent so much money on this. Like, I'm like, and one of them was Clank Legacy, which is, it's right up there with Pandemic Legacy, but, I know we're going off topic, but it's like one of those where he like handed me the card. He's like, here, you rip it. It's your game. And I'm like, I cried. Because I really wanted that character in my deck, but no, I mean, Pandemic is really great in that aspect of it just brings like cooperativeness as far as like people kind of working together, and
cooperation.
Yeah, what did I say?
Cooperativeness.
Sorry.
Hey, that's the board game term.
Yeah. So it brings just a certain amount of like cooperation amongst people. So yeah. And I'm more of a, like, what do you call it? The competitive type of guy. But when it comes to Pandemic Legacy, I can just like sit back and like, hey, what do you guys want to do? Yeah. And so try hard not to quarterback, which is a huge term in the cooperative genre. So
we'll dive into that a little bit. That's definitely worth talking about if we're talking co-op.
So going into sports, quarterbacking, quarterback is on the football field, tells you what plays we need to make, and this is what it is. There's a captain, and usually it's the quarterback. And so when you're huddled up and you want to score a game, you got to follow what the QB says. So in the board game world, we have this thing where it's like, oh crap, I'm about to get quarterbacked, in this game. And so what that means is that somebody's going to want to take the lead, and for me, what I figured out with that, it's like, actually, I kind of want to do this instead, and it's like, you're allowed to do that. It's one of those things like, and they might argue back and forth, but at the same time, it's your game, it's your experience, it's what you want to do,
it's like you had your turn. It's my turn now. Let me do my turn.
Yeah. And you're like, actually, we should go over here, and eradicate this because, we don't know what the next card is. And this other person disagrees. It's like, hey, we can actually find over here, where it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to do it. Yeah, it's a co-op game, but maybe it might work out in the end. We don't know, because we don't know what the next card's going to be, so.
I think that's a great thing to try and bring to your play group is the idea and the awareness of quarterbacking.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is helpful, especially like, I don't know what to do. What should we do? Then, someone steps up and leads a little bit. But the idea that, okay, so on your turn, you should do this because that'll trigger this. And then Saul, we're going to go here and you do this. Okay. No. I need you to play that card instead. Like that doesn't fly. Like I always try and, when I'm teaching games, you can kind of see one person try and step up and do that. Because to be honest, a lot of times they're right. Yeah. Like they are correct. That is the right move to do and the right play to happen. But that doesn't bode well for a fun game.
Correct.
Like just let them fly.
Especially when you're trying to be cooperative, you know, and trying to work as a team, and you're like, and for me, like how I kind of deal with those people is like, hey, like understand you want to make your own decisions, but give me some time to think about what I want to do, So, and some people understand that, so, and I think I've just had like a not bad moment, but like one of those moments where somebody was quarterbacking so many times, where it's like, okay, don't want to play with you now.
Yeah.
And, and that's when you have that conversation with them afterwards where it's like, for me, I just have that conversation where it's like, hey man, like, I understand that you enjoy the game. I understand that you love the game, but I'm trying to get some other people to enjoy the game as well.
Yep.
So sometimes you have to kind of take a step back for that and, let them think it out themselves, And if it's the wrong decision, we lose. Great. We'll play again and we'll probably win.
Yeah.
And then we might actually listen to you.
Because a lot of times the quote unquote quarterback may not know that they're doing it.
Yeah.
Like they just have the brain of like, no. I see how this is going to play out, and this is the right answer.
Yeah. I find that a lot of the co-op games find a quarterback, and then some of the games are trying to alleviate some of that. So like, for instance, like I keep mentioning Daybreak, but I haven't played it yet. But that's one of the things that I see a lot of the comments on. It's like, we're not quarterbacking. There's no really such a quarterbacking. You're playing cards unique to yourself, and you talk to others. It's like, hey, we could, downsize the pollution on this one. So, but yeah, Daybreak is a game about like global warming. So you're trying to save the planet. It's a little weird, but yeah. It won spilled the jars.
Stallone movie?
No.
Daybreak.
Is it?
Yeah, he's like stuck in a tunnel, right?
Oh, I don't know.
And there's like he's stuck in a tunnel, and there's flooding happening.
Oh,
right?
goodness.
It's a Netflix show. Hang on. I'm
Is
going
it
to
a
find
Netflix
this.
show?
Yeah.
Or CBS show?
No. This is a different one. I just typed in Daybreak. What is that Sylvester Stallone tunnel movie? Daylight.
Daylight.
I was close. 1996. Daylight.
It was a day apart.
No. And then when I think Daybreak, I don't know why I think of vampires.
Oh, that's
That's
true.
just me.
Yeah. That's just you.
That's just me.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Pandemic, I mean, it's classic.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Honestly, if you haven't tried it, I would highly, highly suggest it. Play the original, If you don't like the original, cool. There's other little genres within it. Is it because of the co-op or somebody gave you a bad experience, Just try it again. Again, I'm not geared towards co-op just because I am really competitive, but I do like to play it once in a while because it kind of reminds me like, hey, we got to work with each other a little bit. So.
Well, it's the only one of the 4 that we're discussing right now that's cooperative.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're looking for a co-op game, that one's good.
I feel like it's also one of those like perfectly simplistic in that like there's still, in a way, it's kind of easy to play. Like there's not much to it, and like I think that's a good thing. And if anything, that's where like the legacy parts are kind of cool. We're like, oh, you played the base game, it's pretty simple. I'll get into the legacy version, and then like, oh, cool. Like Saul says, it's changing every game. Yeah, I having to teach it on the spot. I like that. Like, besides me not rushing to like, I don't know what to do because these people are like waiting on me. Breathing down my back as I'm trying to. They weren't actually doing that, but I like that it was simple enough for me to like. I was able to teach it in the end, and I think to do it over again and like. It should be easier to teach now after having played it once.
Well, I think that brings up a really good point that with all of these games that we've mentioned on this iteration of Modern Classics, they're teachable.
Yeah.
They're accessible and they are teachable, but they're also, I'm going to maybe coin a phrase, expansionable, which really is just expandable. But they have a base rule set that is not super complex, but complexity can be built upon it. There's an inherent replayability. There's some decent artwork, but you can build upon a rule set that is easy to understand. And I think that kind of is what makes these modern classics.
Yeah.
Now that we've kind of covered these big 4, these big heavy hitters, I want to go into a list here that I've got of what we're going to kind of be like soon to be classics. So I have a list here, but I'm going to open it up to you guys and let's see. We talked about it. We did talk about it, but what are some modern games that maybe haven't been out more than 5 to 10 years that you see being played a lot and fit this bill of like, you know what? This could stand the test of time. This could be a modern classic. It's got expansions. It's got replayability. What do you see becoming a modern classic?
Having worked here, I think that's a big play because when someone asks you for a board game, once you get the same board game asked a couple times, you're like, oh, okay, maybe this is maybe this is a good board game. But having never played it, I think Wingspan is
Yes.
definitely going to be there. The amount of times we've had someone ask for Wingspan is like, not having played this game, like, wow, this game must be on another level, because
Yeah.
it's hard. Every time we keep it in stock, I want to say it lasts for maybe a week before
If that.
all the copies are gone.
Yeah, Wingspan was on my list for sure, and Wormspan if you want dragons.
Yeah.
Has zero appeal to me though. Like,
Yeah,
truly has
You don't
zero
like
appeal to
dragons
me.
or just you prefer the birds?
The bird? No, I'm gonna play Wormspan if I'm gonna play one of the two, but like I just
You haven't played either of them?
nope,
No? Okay.
no.
I would start with Wingspan first.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It just looks
So
so.
what is it,
boring.
like bird watching,
Yeah,
or
what is
it?
bird
It's-
catching, or starting a museum, or
I don't know the description of it.
Okay.
All I know is
We
that
don't need to
it's
go through all the
yeah.
things of like
Yeah.
what it is, but
It's a Stegmaier game for one, so it has that appeal to it. And Stegmaier is an author.
I have no idea.
I have no
is an
clue what
author.
this is.
Is a game developer. So he brings out like
okay.
only 2 or 3 times games out of the year.
that's still a
So,
lot.
yeah. And the cool thing about it is I believe this is Elizabeth Hargrave's like first game that she did. And so it was the creator of Wingspan. This is, I believe that was her first game. So it was just had this certain appeal to it. And so now take that name Stegmaier on top of it. Like us board game people are like, oh, what is this? Like, oh, it looks pretty cool. And
Yeah.
so now it's like, hey, the board game people loved it. They got some other new friends or family members to kind of try it that have never tried a board game before. And so now it's at Target. It's like very approachable. It's one of those things that it's pretty, it's got really nice birds to it. And, it's appeal to a lot of people.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think again for good and bad, the fact that you can find it on Target shelves and
Yeah,
probably Walmart shelves. I mean, I feel like that's already slated for. No, this game's gonna be a good one.
sure. Yeah,
And it only recently came out in 2019 as well. So it's about 5 years old. And
Oh,
it's
wow.
still selling
Yeah.
like crazy.
yeah. I would say another one that we have mentioned that could potentially be a modern classic is Quacks of Quedlinburg. Quacks came out
2000.
Quacks came out
18?
2018. Yeah, 2018. And again,
And
Germany, dude.
yeah.
Germany. They are putting out some killer board games.
Yeah. So the cool thing about Quacks is just a synopsis is you're gathering ingredients, putting it inside your bag, and then you're pulling ingredients out of your bag to cook inside your pot. So your board is your pot. And then depending on the number that the ingredient has, it's either 1, 2, 4, or like I mentioned before, it's at 6 pumpkin. Then you move further ahead in the pot. So the further ahead you go inside the pot, the more money and the more points you can get. But the kicker is that there's these white ingredients, which I forgot what they're called, but
They look like cotton buds almost.
yeah,
like
yeah.
cotton
If you
buds.
pull those out, then you can only hold so much of those in. If not, then your pot explodes. So, and the threshold is the number 7. So, and you start off with so many inside your bag. So it's like a push your luck game, and the fact that it's like, okay, I have 6 on the white chips. If I pull another 2, then I'm going to explode because I explode because it's over 7 that I explode.
My favorite interactions are we're like, dude, we're like nearing the end of the game. Your bag is filled with chips. So like, cool. There's not any. I think on like round 4, you get another white chip to go in the bag.
6,
but,
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
but
get
it's
another,
like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the 3 and I've got the big number. So if I get a 2 here, my pot explodes. Is a good thing. There's like 10 chips in here and only one of them's a 2.
Yeah.
And we blew up.
Boom.
And one of the things too is you can't look inside your bag when you're pulling at all. So like our house rule is like, you have to like show the hand go in there, because we've had a couple of cheaters. So I'm not going to call them
Cheating in
out.
Quacks.
Jeez.
Put him in the pot.
It's like, no, I wasn't looking, I swear. But it's it's a great game. And it's I think that one more, the appeal of it is like a push your luck. So it's like, is that one chip going to explode me or not?
Yeah.
Or like, I need that to like stay ahead, so.
This is one of those games where it's like I do my thing, you do your thing. We don't really interact on the board. I think
Right.
the only real thing is the rat tails where like
Oh, you can put that into somebody's pot, right? Or
Yeah,
their
it's
bag.
like, oh, this guy's gone so far ahead. Cool, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's 4 rat tails. Cool, I get a 4 bump. I think that's
4 bump ahead on your pot, because let's say I'm in first, and depending on where I am on the scoreboard, then so let's say I'm in first, you're in second, Michael, and you're in third. Depending on where you are on the scoreboard, that's how many rat tails you get, which means that's how much you're going to be filling your pot.
Yeah.
So you get further ahead in the game. It's more of a catch up mechanism, and I just love it.
Yeah, because you can't run away with the game. If you're,
correct.
Yeah. And I think what's cool is thematically you're kind of like this weird market salesperson, but you're not good at your job. Like, I think the thing is
you're an alchemist.
You're an alchemist, but you're like snake oil
you're not
salesman.
good. Yeah. You're not good, and you're trying to sell these potions. Yeah. So it's one of those fun games, and also talk about replayability. Like, even the base game has like 4 different types of sets.
Oh, it's great.
For each ingredient. So like you can mix and match, and like
the fact that you pull chips at random, it is very rare that you'll have the same game play out.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah. What's one for you, Saul, that might be a modern classic?
Oh man, gosh, I thought about this.
Or soon to
yesterday.
be modern classic.
Yeah, Terraforming Mars, Ark Nova. Those 2 are great games. They're kind of synonymous to each other.
Yeah.
So a lot of people compare it to each other.
We have Ark Nova, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has
It's
a
the
big
big
box.
box.
You want to grab it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll like the artwork on this one.
Are those
Dude,
real
once
pictures?
again, Germany.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. This is one of those
I
like
need to move to Germany.
Yeah, this is one of those heavy hitters, but it's so good. I think if you've played board games enough, like 2-3 years, I would say this is one of those that like you would really, really like.
I got to be honest though, this box art's not doing anything for me.
You don't like animals? It's got a
I love
beautiful
animals, but
big
I'm just
like
saying,
elephant
like,
on
this-
it, tigers, lions,
this
and
looks
bears.
like the art of some sort of software that I would purchase to do, I don't know, design. I don't know, not even design. Something like this looks like a Linux box.
Yeah.
Like OS 5. Whatever. I don't know.
Time to upgrade. I just noticed there's a little hand underneath there
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sure it's great and I would love to play it. Just the box art does nothing for me.
I
But
would-
once again, Germany. Listeners, please support us on Patreon and send us to Germany. If we get enough patrons and make tons and tons of crazy money, I will start a Funkatronic Rex in Germany. We will have a second location
That's a
and it
lot
will
of money.
be in Germany. I'm just saying if we get
luck.
enough. If we get
And
enough.
then we'll
no,
make
but
our
yeah.
own board games.
Yes.
And then the theme could be you're playing as a court on a Tuesday at Funkatronic.
I got to make sure I get all the punch cards, the snack cards.
Yeah.
But here's the problem, though. It's going to be have to called Funkatronic Rex.
With the 2 dots on top.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So yeah, Ark Nova's great. There's some recently new ones. I think Seven Wonders Duel, the Lord of the Rings one's going to be good.
Yeah, that one just came out, and it looks so cool.
Yeah.
Robert cracked our copy that we have here and put it on the board, set it up, and it looked gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, you guys have a store copy?
We do. Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta play that then.
Please.
I'm gonna take it with me. Mm-hmm. Just kidding.
All right, a little bit of a, speaking of Patreon, a little bit of a spoiler here. We're going to come out with another edition of Rex. So Funkatronic Rex recommendations that's going to be tied to this episode. So we're going to have a Rex if you like CATAN, a Rex if you like Dixit, a Rex if you like Dominion, and a Rex if you like Pandemic. Yes. So
Spicy.
patrons on Patreon, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to get the scoop early. Do it.
So those are 4 of our classics that we've mentioned here. And yeah, Saul, thanks for being here. You guys have anything else that you want to
Thanks
jump
for
in
having
on?
me on. So love
Cool.
talking about board games. Don't be afraid to come up to me and shoot me a board game and I'll tell you which one's better or if that one sucks.
Always ready to give your opinion.
Always.
Yes.
Real quick, what's
No.
the price tag on that?
65.
That doesn't seem that bad. Can I see the box?
No, it's a heavy box. It's a lot for Ark Nova.
It's a great
Yeah.
game. And it's more of a race for points. It's
Okay.
really great. Yeah. So, yeah. Also, don't be afraid to come up to me and just say, hey, I'm thinking about getting into board games, and I just love teaching people board games. I love getting people into board games. It's one of my biggest passions. So yeah.
Well, for those that aren't local, because we do have some awesome listeners in Germany. No joke. We have German listeners, and thank you guys for tuning into us. And you know who you are.
I am on the Discord.
Oh, I was going to ask, how do we reach you if we're not local?
I am on the Discord. I believe it's Sloz, SLOZ. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure you're going to tag me in it.
Yes, I will tag you.
Well, if anything, we might be able to make you a special board game manager.
Oh my God.
Role. So
Oh,
then,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I need to be more active in that board game community, and but,
You're active in store and within the community in Phoenix, but
yeah. So I just need to be more proactive in it. So yeah, but you guys can honestly DM me some questions, anything you guys may have. I may or may not know the answer. And I'll let you guys know. So.
if you see him in store, feel free to harass him with all your board game questions.
yeah. Well, that brings up a good point too. Like listeners, I'm going to challenge you. So what are your modern classics, and what do you think could become a modern classic? Do you like the games that we mentioned on this podcast episode? Do you dislike them? What's your favorite expansion of Catan? I want to know what the very niche specific Catan version is that you're playing, the very niche specific pandemic version. Dominion, like how many expansions do you run with that? And Dixit, what's your favorite art card maybe? So get at us with that, please. You can shoot us an email, shop@funkatronicrex.com. You can get us on Discord, on Instagram, on Facebook. We've got links to all that stuff in the show notes. Yeah. So Michael, thanks for being here. And not a board game guy.
Nope.
Not a board game guy.
But have a lot to bring to the table.
I learned that Dominion's a deck building game. I
Yeah,
had no clue.
there you go.
Yeah, cool. Saul, thank you for being here. Appreciate you as always.
I think we just scratched the surface on board games. So
We did.
There's like over 1,000
The
board
board
games.
game iceberg.
Yeah. And for Lord Vader, we hope he feels better. The season's changing now in Phoenix. With finally now under 90 degrees. So
Well, it's supposed to be
it's going
90
back
next
up.
week.
Back, yeah.
It's going back.
Thanks, Hurricane.
Yeah.
Milton.
I think we're not allowed to complain about that, but
No, I get to complain.
Okay. Well, anyways, thank you, listeners. Please don't forget to follow us and follow the show, like us on all the things, do all the doodly doos and whatnot. So we want questions too, guys. Like, get at us, please. We love hearing from the community. And once again, thank you to all of our patrons on Patreon. You guys really push this show. You guys help make this show a reality. We so appreciate it. Please, if you guys dig what we're doing, consider supporting the show. Even just $5 a month really goes a long way. So, gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you to all of our listeners. And yeah, catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Funkatronic Rex. We wanted to let you know we'll be taking a break from releasing regular episodes for the holiday season. As many of you know, this time of year is extra busy in retail, and we're also taking some time to be with our families. But don't worry, we'll still be sharing exclusive content on Patreon as a thank you for being part of our community. We appreciate your support and can't wait to bring you more exciting episodes soon. Enjoy the holidays, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you for listening to the Funkatronic Rex podcast. You can find more of the funk at funkatronicrex.com, Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. If you'd like to support us and the shop, please join us on Patreon by becoming a patron of the funk. If you're in the Phoenix area, please swing by. Come check us out. We would love to meet you and get a game in. You can also reach us by sending an email to shop@funkatronicrex.com. Stay up, stay true, and don't forget, stay funky. Oh, large robot. Let's see.
Brother. This is more like maybe like a dreadnought. Brother. Purge the heretics.
Say something
where are my
menacing.
legs?
Menacing.
Yeah. I'm going to do your laundry or something.
To do your laundry every day this week.